Hello and welcome, FPL managers, and welcome to Gordon Football Fantasy. And it's good to be back for Game Week 10. And yeah, you see some familiar faces, but also not so familiar faces. Some people joining from different parts of the world, to be honest. But let's just welcome first our guest for tonight. It's none other than Sankalp Nanda, all the way joining us from India. Welcome, Sankalp.
Thank you, Nadim bhai. Very happy to be here. Been some time.
Yeah, it is. It is. And we missed you. We missed you. We can say that. But we are glad that you joined us, and finally, there is a bit of a space in our personal life where we can, all meet together and discuss a game that we all love, but at the same time we all hate. At least this week I'm hating it because I got a red arrow for 1 point, which is great. But anyway, good. Then there is another person I see on my screen. I don't know where he is joining from, but he's on the other side of the world where it's daytime right now, and we are kind of already timed for us to go to bed. But people like us, we stay awake and we discuss FPL. And then there is this guy on the other side who's just starting his day. I mean, what a strange world we live in. Welcome, the professor.
Thank you so much, Nadim bhai. Yeah, I mean, it's like an international life. Two people are joining from Bangladesh, one from India, one from USA. I guess we should add someone from the UK too. After all, the game is being played in the UK. I have some friends over there and
Yeah,
some
that's
good
true. But
friends. Even I got a call from Canada. One of my friends called that he finished, I guess, third or fourth in Bangladesh last season. He's connected to one of my closest friend, and he called me through him
okay.
and said that, brother, we should do a live together. I'm from Canada. I finished fourth in last season. We can do a live together. I said, okay. We just live across the border, so we can even do one thing. You come that side of the border, I come this side,
Yeah,
and we live together.
that's true. I am probably the spot should be Niagara Falls. Yeah, that should be the spot. Then you can just do it. I mean, forget about all the what do you call it, the water splashing and the fog and everything that comes along with it, the obstacles. But yeah, you can still just say that we are talking about FPL in Niagara Falls. I mean, who cares about Niagara Falls? We are here for FPL here. I mean, yeah, true. You get to see Niagara Falls every day, but you don't get to play FPL every day, right? So that's the thing. And then my goodness me, the moment I saw somebody in my screen, which is kind of below me, I just didn't know what to do. My reactions are a bit difficult to express because that person apparently has overtaken me, and now he's decided, because he's overtaken me now in FPL, he's decided to join the live. So I thought, like, just to summarize and not elaborate too much about my emotions, I thought I'll just play this one about how I'm feeling currently. Well, that says my reactions, but welcome, Ashfaq. Good to have you.
Right. So I just want to say for the record, you always look gorgeous when you cry.
Thanks. I know. Long hair, right? Blonde. So good. Yeah.
Right, right,
I know. I know. I mean, I should
right.
wear black
So
more often.
right. So I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here. Finally, Nadim bhai has taken time to invite me to the show. So I'm
Right.
glad to be part of this again.
Good. And you're not just I decided, like, I'm going to give you a lot of flow today. Besides Sankalp and besides Jangir, I'm also going to give you equal share. Just that audience gets a fair understanding that there is nothing going on between you and me. And our life is fine, and we still have a very healthy relationship. And FPL has not damaged us by any chance. So yeah, just that, keep that in mind. But audience, thank you so much for joining, and it's great to see so many viewers joining live. And we'll be doing the show, and there's so much to discuss. I know a lot of you are going to play your wild card. We have Sankalp will be discussing quite a number of drafts as well, but he's going to also discuss some of the biggest dilemmas. And of course, the man who's on fire, he's really on fire, and he's just decided, like, no matter what I do now, The world is just going to follow me. Yeah. I'm going to kick out Haaland. Doesn't matter. Haaland is not going to score. I'm going to pick Salah. I'm going to captain him. He's going to score 2 goals. It's okay. And I will have a great rank. It's all right. People follow me for more interesting FPL content. So we have him as well. And he's going to discuss. And of course, I'll give fair share to Ashfaq also to just, touch upon making sure that he doesn't feel embarrassed. Like, why is Nadim Bhai invited me here today? But anyway, let's get straight to the show. And thank you so much. Send your questions by 12:30, by the way. We will try to answer all the questions that come in before 12:30 in as detail as possible. All those questions that come in after 12:30, we will try to give the answer as precise and short as possible. So probably in a word or two, we will not give you a lot of explanations. But any question that comes before 12:30, we are happy to answer those questions and give you the the detailed answer that you need. But this is your Footalochona, the FPL Gano show for Game Week 10, and of course, it's brought to you by Gano Football Fantasy, and of course, powered by Fantasy Football Scout. If you haven't followed and liked and subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so now. We are producing regular, interesting FPL content. We are getting the follows that we get, and we appreciate all that sincere support that comes in from you. So thank you so much, but keep doing it. We are not yet there where we would like to be. So yeah, your support and your help can help us to reach out there. So please do so. And as you know, all the data that you see on our page, but also on our show, and all the data that you will come across today is all from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. If you're interested in the membership, please do subscribe and click in the link that is given in the description, and you will get a 30% discount. There is so many data that you can analyze. Sankalp has gone crazy analyzing just data, to be honest. And I can tell you, he's one of the data freaks that I know. Jahangir doesn't care about data. He just thinks whatever I do, well, will follow anyway. Ashfaq decides, I will do the data, but I'm a manager, so I don't have the time. So I will ask Parvez Bhai to share the data with me. Yeah. And I just have the data, and I think sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. So yeah. But anyway, jokes aside, this is a great thing to have. Coming to the topic, so this is what we are going to discuss. It's about Arsenal, because I think that's those of you who are playing wildcards or even not playing wildcards, whether to take Saka, whether not to take Saka, whether to go with 3, whether to go with 2, whatever you decide, that's something lifelong Arsenal fan who thought Arsene Wenger was the owner of Arsenal. He comes from the period that I used to watch Arsenal being the unbeatable or, invincible team. So I wouldn't hold him for that. Even I had the same thoughts in my head back then. And back then we didn't have Google, or we didn't have Facebook, and we didn't have so many pages to share that kind of information. So yeah, Arsene means Arsenal. Sankalp is here to discuss Arsenal. So he'll discuss that. The professor is going to talk about which premium to drop, and of course, I can tell you I can tell you without batting my eye that he's going to definitely just drop Haaland and take Salah. That's it, yeah. And then we have who's the ideal 4th and the 5th midfielder, and
just an interruption, Nadim bhai. এখন সালমান খানের মতো ডায়লগ দিতে হবে, মেরে বারে में इतना मत सोचना, दिल में आता हो समझ में नहीं. আমি Haaland, I'm not gonna say Haaland. I have another option actually to drop now.
अरे दिल में लड्डू फूटा, मुंह में भी लड्डू फूटा, कितना फूटा भाई? Cadbury Dairy Milk, anyway. Cadbury Dairy Milk shots. Not sponsored, by the way, but yeah, just letting you know. Then the 4th and the 5th midfielder, which Ashfaq is going to glorify, probably a particular player from Manchester City who has decided to join Chelsea, and he's kind of drawing all the attention because somebody is a big fan of his left foot, and he's been going on and on in our personal chat in WhatsApp about how great this guy is. So he's going to discuss that. And then we have the wildcard draft. There are 3 wildcard drafts that we are going to discuss. One will be discussed by Sankalp, one will be discussed by the professor, and of course, one will be discussed by Ashfaq. And then we get into the captaincy. So without further ado, and I think I have done my monologue here, I'll pass the baton to Sankalp. which options from Arsenal would you like to go with? 3 attacks, 2 attacks, and 1 defense, or 1 attack or 2 defense? Sankalp, over to you.
Yeah, I think I'll start with the simple thing. Arsenal look really, really good in defense. We look okay in attack so far, right? So that simplifies things for us. Given the fixtures, you would like to have one attacker for sure. Given our defensive form and stats, you would like to have one defender for sure, right? So that for me, the two is more or less fixed, right? One attacker, one defender. Now, do you want to go two attack or do you want to go two defense? I think it depends a bit on where you are from a FPL, rank point of view. I think if you're doing really well, right, if you have the luxury of rank with you further around 10 to 50k or say within top 100k as well, I think you need not sell your Sons and Madisons for an extra attacker. Rather keep them and have double defense, right? Not a lot of people will have double defense, but overall, from what we have seen, uh, they can more or less match or get you somewhere closer. Right, from a Arsenal returns point of view, right? If you're someone chasing, it's FPL. The attack looks always exciting. It always attracts you more. So it makes sense to go at least double attack. I will not recommend triple attack to anyone because, to be honest, from what we have seen so far, I don't think anything about Arsenal screams triple attack so far. Right? We are still figuring things out. One side looks good, one side not. So we just have to, look into things a bit more in detail before we get into a triple attack kind of scenario.
Right. So, would you suggest that if I am in a position like I'm playing my wild card. Last week even I did thought like I don't know when to play my wild card. This week I'm in like desperately need to play my wild card. That's how quickly FPL changes. Yeah, I was having this discussion with Bethany the last week, and I was telling her like I don't know, I don't know if I'm going to waste my wild card. And she's like, yeah, just keep it. I hold on to it as long as possible. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm really worried now that I don't know when to play my wild card. And then 7 days later, I've activated it. So people like me are in a dilemma. And I'll tell you exactly what the dilemma is. Arsenal is keeping a clean sheet and it's hurting. It's hurting people like us because I got burned by Gabriel at the beginning of the season. Okay. And then I didn't move to Saliba, thinking like, okay, Arsenal is not going to be as solid as possible. Yeah. But you are solid defensively. So now I feel like, okay, I need to get Saliba or Gabriel. But I also knew Saka is a great option. But then there is this man who out of the blue takes the ball away from Saka's hand and starts scoring penalties without actually informing even the manager. Yeah. And then there is the guy who comes in form, plays brilliantly. You have him for about 5-6 game week. He does nothing, then gets injured or something or goes to the bench, and then suddenly comes around and scores a worldie. And now he looks like he can score, wins and fancies. So it's a bit of a confusion for me or people like me, who find themselves playing the wild card or have the luxury of 2 transfers, don't know whether focus should be more on the defense. And if so, who should be the one, or focus should be more on the Arsenal attack, Sankalp? What would you suggest for such dilemmas?
Yeah, I think a lot of it depends on cash, right? Like life, FPL revolves around the money you have in your bank, right? So the easiest way to start for me, attack one option, Saka. Right? He's I think at the season opener price, he's again at 8.5 million. Thanks to that injury, his price has come down. So if you have not got him, start with him, right? With defense, I like Gabriel because I don't think Arteta will again go into that experiment mode. We have finally settled as a defensive unit, and Gabriel plays a good role for it. So I think his minutes are secured. But at the same time, Ben White, I was looking at a stat by Sky Sports, which said most number of overlaps done by a fullback. Ben White is there ahead of Trippier even, right? So and if you have seen us first 2-3 game weeks, Ben White was playing as the third center back, so he was around zero. That number was zero. Now he's leading it with 150 odd overlaps, right? So he's playing a lot more attacking. And if you have the luxury of money with you, I would say he's the guy to start with. If you don't have the luxury of money, I will not go Saliba. I'll not go 50-50. Either I go White or I come down to Gabriel and save that money.
Gabriel.
You take a call accordingly. Now the third slot is where you want to go, right? I think Watkins' form has helped us a lot, primarily because I don't think people will want to go to Jesus as a third striker, and more or less, I think most of the people are on Haaland and Watkins as your first two duo, right? So that helps. So now your forward guy is out. Basically, you have to select the second midfielder, right? Both the options are punty. Martinelli is cheaper, that helps. But purely from a football point of view, we can see, the left side is fucked up for Arsenal, right? We managed to bring in one guy. We sold one guy who a lot of fans did not respect, but his absence has shown how good he was. Granit Xhaka was a solid player. I used to always like him as a fan. A lot of people did not, and now they realize, how good a gel he was. Right, so that that entire combination is now gone. We are constantly experimenting. Some matches we have, Kai Havertz playing. Some matches we have Fabio Vieira coming in. Some matches we have Declan Rice coming in. Nothing has worked purely from an attacking point of view. Defensively, different things have worked, but attacking point of view, nothing has worked. And I think that has had a lot of impact on Gabriel Martinelli. People say, Gabriel Jesus' absence impacts him, but I think it's more that LCM guy. What he does, it dictates which line Martinelli picks. Uh, Purely from that point of view, I like having Odegaard. He's not your sexy pick, he's not your fancy pick, right? And his price is similar to Saka. So all these things go against him, but I like the position that he takes. He's always your second guy running into the box. The striker runs in, two defender follow him, and he comes in after later, right? It's just a matter of whether our wingers pick him up. And the stats always prove him. He's still there in the top 10 of midfielder returns this season as well. Last season, he had 212 points, so he's no fluke guy. And like you said, he comes and asks for penalties as well nowadays for some reason. And being a captain, I think Saka somehow gives it off, right? So there
Yeah.
are pros and cons. I really like Odegaard as an option. I have Odegaard in my team, so there's a bit of bias. I want to be honest. If you are going to Martinelli, you have to be patient. There will be games it will work. There will be games it will not work. It is not because Martinelli is not a good player. It's just because our system is still settling down. It's taking a lot more time than ideally it should. And so if you're taking a punt, if you have money issues, go Martinelli, it's fine. If you have the luxury of money, I like Odegaard as the second, attacker. If you're someone who's, sold Haaland and who does not even want to keep Alvarez for some reason, right? You don't want a City attacker, you want an Arsenal attacker, then I think Gabriel Jesus is the perfect third striker for you. Pending his injury news, we still don't know because suddenly in the Champions League match there is a slight scare. And today he was scheduled to have a scan, but I've not heard anything from most of the Arsenal sources that I follow. So, in short, that is my summary for Arsenal.
Yeah, no thanks. पैसा तो है मेरे पास. पैसा तो है बहुत मेरे पास. खर्चा करने
World
के
is your
लिए.
oyster.
Yeah.
So,
I have that.
so,
That I have.
so
Go on,
regarding the
Ashfaq.
Arsenal attack, I had two questions to Sankalp. So, number
Mhm.
one was I completely agree with the fact that Gabriel Martinelli is the go-to guy for Arteta. Arteta is a big fan of Gabriel Martinelli, and he will start most of the games no matter what. But I'm a bit concerned on what many AFL managers shares. I think with his his actual playing minutes, because what we have seen that Trossard is a very capable substitute when brought in. He is creating chances, he's scoring goals, and he's an able well pretty competent competent player coming off of the sub. So my first question is, do you think still that Gabriel's minutes are guaranteed, as you have said earlier, because Trossard is a good competition for him? And another concern regarding Gabriel, because many people are considering, I think, Martinelli right now, because I think he's a very good differential to have. When he's on form, not many people are considering him now because the focus is on the Diabys, the Mitomas, the Bowens. And Martinelli, I think, is kind of overlooked now. So he's a bit of a differential, and many people has not been considering because of this. So what I have seen in some of the games, that Gabriel often tends to, uh, pushes wide rather than pushing in towards the penalty box. He plays as a winger, when going wide rather than uh, coming into the box, etc. So do you think that makes him a bit of a less of an option as an FPL player, or what's your thoughts on that, Ross?
Yeah, I think both points are solid, right? Martinelli was always a 70 minutes kind of a guy, 75 minutes kind of guy, even last season. But it did not, impact our thought because we were doing so well, right? He was giving a lot of returns, so we didn't care whether went off early. We're like, okay, he's still scoring a goal. He's giving me 6 to 8 points every week. Why do I care, right? And his price was so low that helped. Now his price is a bit higher and he's not exactly on song, not necessarily because of himself, but because of the system that we play. Right. So, lot more thought, a lot more factors have come in, and including Trossard, who's a very, very good backup. We saw last week as well. Right. So, and this is actually the reason I'm not as gung ho about Martinelli as I was last season. I still like the player. I love the player. Absolutely love the player. I feel he's the most naturally talented player that we have in our attack, right? Uh, but the fact is that the way we are playing, it is hindering him from giving us FPL points. And I still feel a lot of people are jumping on Martinelli on wildcard because he's just the ex lively player, right? And in FPL we always have a tendency to go towards players who dribbles, who's pacey. We always like those wingers, but I think these are what you pointed out are very solid reasons why, if you feel you are in doubt, you need not go there as well, right? Regarding him holding the width, again, it's something that I was touching upon. It depends a lot on the LCM. For example, when Kai Havertz plays, right, he's the guy who generally plays as second striker, and he's the guy who takes those spaces where Martinelli used to jump in. And Arteta, like Pep, they all are a principal, manager where they want someone to take up some sort of spaces, right? They have the entire pitch divided into zones, and someone has to take that left attacking zone, that width. Someone has to keep the width. So Martinelli is generally the guy who has to keep the width. Again, he plays generally with Zinchenko or even Tomiyasu. Either of them, if they come in, they play a bit central, especially Zinchenko. He plays very inverted. So Martinelli is the only guy who can keep that width. Right? It did not matter even if Martinelli, and he was doing the same thing last season as well. He was playing with Zinchenko. He was staying wide. It did not matter because the entire system was on song. We were very fluent, and it did not matter. And so even if Martinelli was getting two chances, he was converting one. But the fact is, today Martinelli is getting one chance, 1.5 chance, very low XG, right? So it's very difficult for me to believe he'll get it. He'll be able to convert a lot over the next 3, 4, 5 matches. And one thing I wanted to touch upon is a lot of people became interested again about Martinelli seeing the Champions League match because he ran and scored such a lovely goal. Right, everyone's like, "Hey, Jesus Martinelli combo is back." Just one thought is, the Champions League match was against a team which is really, really good. Sevilla is a really strong team in Europe, right? And they were attacking us. Hence, they were giving us a lot of spaces at the back for us to attack, for us to counter. From what I've read, Arsenal has played the deepest defensive block so far across all clubs in Europe when it comes to matches in Premier League. And I expect the same. The teams that we are playing are not good teams, but these are the teams who will sit back, they will sit deep. So I don't expect us to score goals and counter, and I think counter is the only opportunity which gives Martinelli a chance to run into central areas. So in net, I'm not as excited about Martinelli. If you're going there, you can go there, but go there with an understanding that it's a punt. It's a 7.7 million odd punt. So that's what you're taking.
Ashfaq, I'm sure you got your answer. Well, whether I got my answer or not, That's something my team will decide. But one thing I can tell the audience, if you heard just now Sankalp talking about Martinelli, and he kind of very articulately, he kind of brought Martinelli's form last year and how he's playing this year and what's the difference. And there is something, if I have to really capture all this into one word or one sentence, there's a song that comes to my mind, and I'm not going to sing it, but it's Bryan Adams, When You Love Someone. Yeah. It's just that song, When You Love Someone, kind of encapsulates everything Sankalp is feeling about Martinelli. He loves him. It's just that, he just can't take him. होता है यार, बड़े-बड़े देशों में होते हैं, छोटे-छोटे बातें होते रहते हैं, senorita. Don't worry. Okay, let's move to the next topic. I'll ask you, Jahangir, to discuss on this one, which premium to drop. Because now that Salah is finding form, Haaland is not doing great. There is Saka, there is Son, there is Madison. There is so many people. There is Watkins, there is Trippier. I don't know. I mean, you can name it. And suddenly people don't have the luxury of cash anymore. Yeah. So that brings us to the topic of which premium to drop. And I will just bring the next slide for you to discuss. Over to you, Professor.
Thank you so much, Nadim bhai. First of all, I'm sorry that I'll have to leave within maybe next 5 to 7 minutes. So I'll try to put all my thoughts within the next 5 to 7 minutes, then I'll leave. And I won't be here for the question answers, but I will try to do a deadline stream just 1 hour, 30 minutes before the deadline tomorrow. If Parvez bhai is free, maybe he will join, maybe Imon will join. So there will be a deadline stream tomorrow for the question answers. And to answer this question, which premiums to drop?
Parvez will be joining during the question answers.
Okay, so the first thing to discuss here is Haaland is still untouchable. And when I'm saying this, you have to understand that I don't have Haaland in my team. And I fear that every week, because I literally expected Haaland to smash at least 2 goals and 1 assist against Brighton, because I think they conceded more than 10 goals in the last 4 matches, and they didn't keep a single clean sheet in the whole season. So Brighton was not the most defensive team in the league, but somehow Haaland didn't score that many goals. But then again, they face Manchester United and Bournemouth next 2 weeks, with all due respect to the United fans here. But still, when it is United, how Liverpool and Man City likes and loves to smash them. So yeah, doesn't matter whether it's Old Trafford or Anfield or Etihad. I think Haaland can definitely smash some goals here, especially because Manchester United are not at their best form right now, because they're making a lot of changes in every match. I mean, their playing 11 is not fixed yet, so that's a match where I will worry about not having Haaland. Then comes the Bournemouth home game, which is the scariest part of not having Haaland. And I have set myself mentally that even if Haaland scores 20 points, I will say, okay, I saw that coming. And somehow that 20 point was already covered by my other players, which I got instead of Haaland, like Watkins, Salah, Son, and Trippier. If I had Haaland, I couldn't get all those. So I know that 20-point haul will come in 1 week, and it's not like I just went a few steps ahead. It's just my players scored 20 points this week. Haaland owners will get those 20 points in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So I will still say don't go without Haaland, and I will like to explain that, because when I got rid of Haaland, I had a few options who covered for me. Like the one player who literally covered Haaland for me was Kieran Trippier. He scored 12, 18, and 10 in 4 weeks, and 6 in other weeks. So it's like almost 50 plus points in 4 weeks from a defender. So I already got that advantage. But now if you get rid of Haaland, who will you get? Trippier? Trippier has Arsenal, Chelsea, United, Spurs. In their next 6 or 7 games, they have 4 of the big sides. So I really don't think Trippier will give you those big points. Then if you tell about Saka, he's a fantastic asset. But you see, he only provided 2 double digits in the season, and I don't think he will provide many double digits, but he will give 5, 6, 8, but not big hauls. So he's not going to be a captaincy option. Son, Yeah, he was a great asset till now. In some game weeks he will give you blank. In some game weeks he will give you double digits. But he also have Chelsea, Man City, Newcastle, West Ham, also Villa. So these are not the best fixtures. So I don't think it's worth it now to drop Haaland, because the assets you will get instead of Haaland will not be worth it. So I will say don't touch Haaland. The first asset you can drop is Trippier, because he's a defender, and without clean sheet, I don't think there is big haul for defenders. Because if someone gives even an assist, he doesn't give bonus without clean sheets. So I don't see many clean sheets for Newcastle in the upcoming few weeks. So I will say you can drop Kieran Trippier for now. Now that he's 7 million, you can still cover a Newcastle defense with someone like Burn or Fabian Schär, who is a great differential, because Fabian Schär scores like 3 to 4 goals every season, and he didn't score any yet. So maybe it's coming in the upcoming few weeks. So I think Fabian Schär is a great option to cover Trippier, which will save you like 2 millions or more than 2 million. So first, I will tell you, you can drop Trippier. Second, Salah is not touchable also at this moment. But if you want to have both Haaland and Salah, I don't think you can have Son. That will be a problem. So I will say you can also drop Son and Trippier, because you can somehow cover Son with Madison. They're not the same assets, but still, Madison is the second best, not only in the stats. He's also taking the most shots after Son, his box involvements, his chances creation, all the set pieces. So maybe Madison will score 5 to 10 points less than Son within the 5 to 6 game weeks, but it's worth that 2 million. So I will say just drop Son and Trippier, and you can still keep Saka because he has the fixtures like Sheffield, Burnley, Wolves, Luton. You never know in which week Saka will give the double digit, so you can just drop him, but don't captain him. There will be a nice return of points in this upcoming game weeks. You just don't know in which game weeks, because Saka is someone like who's consistent, who's great player in every week, but you never know in which game week he will take penalty, in which game week Odegaard will take penalty. But there will be definitely a few game weeks where Saka will give a few double digits along with some small digit returns too. So Haaland, Salah, Saka, Watkins, these are the non-negotiables. Son and Trippier to drop for me. And I think that will be from me for this segment. I'm sorry for being available only for a short while, but hopefully I'll be back tomorrow for more question answers. Thank you so much, guys. See you tomorrow in my YouTube channel, because my Facebook page is no longer available.
Take care, man.
Yeah, Jahangir, before you leave, just a few words. You said Haaland is going to smash. Haaland is going to smash. Liverpool is going to smash. Liverpool is going to smash. That smash word was used every time he said it was against Manchester United. What days, Ashfaq? What days are we having?
Right.
The choice of words here. I was like, I could see Ashfaq behind
exactly.
over there.
I used the word smash because I honestly just saw two highlights. I mean, in my FPL BD Instagram, I follow all the Facebook football pages, and they just literally keep making those videos like the 7-0, 5-0 against Manchester United. Then I saw the 6-3 against United last season against Man City. So you talk about these two teams, Liverpool and Man City. They scored 7 goals, 5 goals, and 6 goals against Manchester United in last 2 seasons, or maybe just last season. So that's the thing. I mean, I'm really scared of not having Haaland against Manchester United, even though it's an away game. But I don't know. But Bournemouth is definitely another game. As I said, Bournemouth, I also used smash because I said I'm almost sure that he's going to return approximately 20 points against Bournemouth home.
Yeah, I think Ashfaq and my reaction is more or less the same here. You can see it. We are both drinking coffee and tea when somebody's talking about smashing Manchester United. Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Jahangir. Thank you so much for joining, and it was really great to have you. Thank you so much for this. You decided to come in, and even for a short period, and we really appreciate that. But thank you so much, bro. And of course, Parvez will be joining us during the question and answers. But let's continue. I think Jahangir has set up in a very sort of segue. He's created the segue for us to actually get into the next subtext, because I
So
think
so
here,
so I had a
as he
I
said,
had a slight comment about Trippier here. So a lot of people are considering, Trippier, that obviously he has some tricky fixtures up ahead with Arsenal, Chelsea, United, etc. So I think Trippier still leads FPL Premier League in terms of chances created. I think not just as a defender. I think overall. So that being that kind of stats for being for a defender is kind of outstanding. So I think people need to consider Trippier, as a as a fifth midfielder of sorts. So that is something that we considered Trent Alexander-Arnold a few years back, a few seasons back. Trent Alexander-Arnold as the fifth midfielder. So that is something I think that people need to take into consideration for Trippier as well, because the amount of chances he's creating, even if he's Newcastle are not giving the clean sheets, I think he's always among the tops on bonus points. So I know people are considering the Trippier as the third defender, etc. Many of you can't afford Trippier, but I think it's about time you give some consideration to the thought of Trippier being rather not a third defender, but rather fifth midfielder. You consider not playing a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3, rather a 4-4-2 of sorts, or 4-3-3 likewise.
yeah, I'm not in disagreement with what you said, Ashfaq. It's just that Jahangir is not here to defend it. But what we're going to do is, we're going to, because he's kind of already set the tone, you can drop Son and you can drop TPA, but whether it's that easy, because not a lot of people will agree with what Jahangir just said. And I think there is still a lot of choices that we need to decide. So let's just first look at Haaland and Salah, because that's the biggest discussion point, whether these are the two assets as to whom we should go with and whom we should not go with. So I'll ask Sankalp to just touch upon this comparison that we have done based on zonal weaknesses. So Sankalp, over to you as to who do you think is the better asset going forward?
It's very difficult to choose between the two, right? But I mean, statistically, I think Haaland looks like he's a very good player. I mean, he still gets his chances. He's not, converted it with the efficiency that we saw last season, but I think he's almost there, right? And the chance that he took on the Brighton match, right? He still scored it from outside the box, and he such a nice finish, which tells you that it's not going away. The man is still there, right? What is helping our case for not going Haaland is City are not exactly City attacking point of view. Very similar to Arsenal, they have also struggled a bit in hitting the top form. They are doing well, they're playing well, they're still creating chances. They're not creating chances the way they created last season, perhaps, or maybe the way they ended last season. And that's where the entire thought is. With respect to Salah, I think the fixture helped him, right? But at the end of the day, we are seeing more and more that he's just getting those opportunities. He's getting penalties, or he's getting good opportunities, and some will call it luck, some will call it football in the sense, or
Variance?
his movements. Right, his talent. At the end of the day, he's the guy who's getting those points, right? Looking at the fixtures, Haaland has tougher fixtures. There's just no doubt. Especially, Chelsea and Liverpool is, and you can see the rank, right? 20th and 13th. Right? It tells you how tough those matches are. And but you also have, one match, Bournemouth, right, where is number one, right? So ideally, I agree with Jahangir in the sense that these two look like players. So at the end of the day, you have to captain someone, right? If you ask me today, I'm still more comfortable captaining these two big guys rather than captaining Saka. Like you spoke about, Saka is a very good player. He's consistent, but he's still consistent in single digits, right? And you want to captain a player who gets into those double digits, potentially high double digits, right? And that's where these two come in. So between the two, I still feel Salah edges it a bit because of the fixtures, the first two fixtures. But overall, if you ask me, I would be way more comfortable, keeping both rather than going one way.
Yeah. Um, so if you had to choose, really, Sankalp, in one word, and I'll come to Ashfaq as well to just ask his verdict. If you had to pick between Salah and Haaland, would you keep both or would you just pick one? And if you had to pick one, whom?
If I'm forced to pick one, I'll go Salah. But I'm keeping both, and I think the wiser decision is keeping both. It's primarily because that Bournemouth match comes in between, right? Chelsea and Liverpool are perhaps the only matches I want to drop the player, and then you have Aston Villa, and just after Aston Villa, you have matches like Luton, you have matches like Crystal Palace and Brentford, both at home, Everton away. Then he's again going to Sheffield. So there's very small gap of matches where I don't want to have him. It's like Chelsea and Liverpool, right? And even then, he might not be captainable asset. I expect him to score at least in the Chelsea match. I think he can score one goal at least. Liverpool maybe he'll blank. Right? So it's a very short window to sell a player that I know definitely I want to buy back, and that's one of the reason I don't want to sell Salah. Haaland.
Ashfaq, if you had to pick both or you're going to sell one, what would you do?
I have both, and I would advise most managers to have both because what Sankalp said that the fixtures come into thinking here, and both have such a high ceiling. So because of their high ceiling and relatively high ownership, if you don't own them and they give you some big points, so you likely lose ranks. And the type of players that they are, even and because of because they're premium players, uh, whatever matches they have, they are you can consider them ultimately fixture proof players. So the fixtures won't matter to them. You shouldn't look at the fixtures because any one of them can give you a high scoring FPL game at any given moment, any given FPL game week. Because as we have seen for the last 2 game weeks, whoever captain Salah had probably at least some million rank growth in their ranks in the last few game weeks. So that is what goes to show what kind of assets that they are. If I had to pick one of them, so people who has a relatively good rank should keep Haaland because of his high ownership and high ceiling, and people who are chasing probably maybe 500 600,000 down the line, if you had to pick one of them, probably should pick Salah instead. But the wiser decision, as Sankalp said, would be to keep both of them, obviously.
Okay, I'm just going to ask a question to Zangir before he gets busted by the cop for talking to us on and doing a live recording while he's driving. Yeah, this is not Bangladeshi police that they'll spare you. Mama maaf kore den mama ebar bhule geche ga. So that's not going to happen. Yeah, Ejemawan and Pasho. I didn't say it. Ashfaq, you said it. I just repeated what you said, Ashfaq. Jangir, are you comfortable talking or are you not comfortable talking?
Sure. I just joined this. This is because I couldn't resist joining a fantastic football FPL discussion. So I just thought.
Yeah, and then I think he leaves. Or am I the one who's gone?
Did something happen to him? If something happens to him, it's totally Nadim Best's fault, because he compelled him to be on the air. He forced him to be on the air, while driving. Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm perfectly comfortable.
Ashfaq, thanks.
No problem. I just want to join the discussion.
Yeah. So the onus is on Jahangir, not on me. Ashfaq, you have it live recorded here, audience. Do not file a case against me for this. But anyway, let's move to the next one. Jahangir, this was supposed to be you who was supposed to be discussing this. There's a bit of noise, actually. So perhaps it might not be a good idea to actually have this. There's a lot of noise coming from the outside. So I don't know if others are getting it as well, but I'm picking up a lot of noise here in my headphones. So let me just cover this up. And Jahangir can just chip in and say a few words when he thinks it's ideal for him to do so. In terms of this two, Saka and Watkins. I am not in disagreement with what Jahangir said in terms of, Saka not being overtly explosive, but then Watkins is something, Watkins has taught us how to play FPL, to be honest, is that patience is key, and that you hold on to a player just because he's not been delivering big points or he's not delivering according to our expectation, not his expectations, does not necessarily mean he's a bad player. And I think this is where the stats comes in. And I think the stats was always in his favor. And I think that is why when people, some of us who actually had him, and when he scored that 20 or 23 points or 24 points, I don't know why, I forgot. I at least didn't have him that week, so that's okay. It wasn't a surprise for us. And I think it just goes to show that, these two are now warranting. And I think the way Aston Villa is playing, kudos to Unai Emery. And I know Sankalp is feeling a bit of a burn there when I talk about Unai Emery there. So kudos to the fact that he has turned the team around, and I think he's making a team look like a team that is worth appreciating and worth watching. But looking at the zonal, I think it's very clear that both has 16 chances this week in terms of when it comes to Saka, but also Watkins has 15 chances, so their ranks are very close by. In terms of the game week ranks over the next 3 game weeks, you can clearly see that Saka's ranks are much better because he has he plays Burnley, who are ranked 6th, and then he plays Brentford, who are ranked 9th, whereas Watkins plays Fulham, who are ranked 15th, and I think plays Wolves, who are ranked 19th, I think. So yeah, not really great for in that, but does not mean that you take both of them out. So to keep the discussion short and not to go overboard with my monologue here, just making sure that if I am to choose between the two, and if I'm to pick one, I wouldn't pick one. I would choose both, and that would be an ideal sort of, because these are both value for money. These are worth having. They are high ownership. They are in form. Their team is playing well. They are the talisman of their teams. So these are the reasons as to why I think that both should be in your team if you are playing a wild card, or even if you're not playing a wild card, and if you're playing, just take a -4 and try to bring both in. Yeah. And that would be my summary of the situation. Anything to
Okay,
add,
so if I
Sankalp, in
uh,
this one? Yeah, go ahead, Jangir.
Okay, so I just wanted to chip in a few words here because I remember the week Watkins scored 24 points. Just day before, I was in a show with Parvez Bhai and I suggested differential. I mean, people were there was a topic, I guess, to suggest a forward apart from Alvarez and Haaland. So that is where I said that Watkins is a great option because he has good fixture, and people say that he has not been returning points. But how I see is he has only blanked once is this in this whole season. So he has been consistent, and the goals will definitely come because of the way Unai Emery plays and the way he uses Watkins. And if I have to choose one, I mean, both are definitely great assets and both are great fixtures. But if I still have to choose one, if I only have one option, I would still go for Watkins. The reason is, first of all, I think Aston Villa is more attacking than Arsenal because Arsenal somehow plays a balanced football. They keep a balance between attack and defense. They also try to keep clean sheet, then win the game, then keep the players safe for the next game or UCL and everything. But on the other hand, Aston Villa is more like, doesn't matter whether we concede 2 or 3, we have to score 5. If we score 5, then we have to score the 6th. This is the mentality I've seen in the Aston Villa team. Even in today's UEFA Conference League or Europa League, I don't know. I don't follow the second class or third class leagues, even though my team plays in there. So that's one thing. And another thing is, in Arsenal, there are so many players who contributes to the goals. Like you see, there's 5 legit scorers: Jesus, Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, Odegaard. I didn't even consider Havertz. But in Aston Villa team, if you talk about scorers, there are 2 scorers. One is Watkins, one is Diaby. And I mean, definitely Douglas Luiz takes the penalties and set pieces, but still, there are not many attackers who contributes to the goals directly like Arsenal. So if there is 5 goals, there is a chance that Saka will get one of those. But in Aston Villa, every 2 goals you will see Watkins being involved, and he also has like 8 or 9 assists in FPL this season, I guess. So not only goals, he is also being involved in the assists. So there is 80% chance that in every Aston Villa goal, Watkins will be involved, while in the case of Saka, there is like only 25 to 30% chance. So I will say that definitely Aston Villa is more attacking, and in that more attacking side, Watkins is more involved. So I will pick Watkins above Saka if I have to choose one. But if you can get both are great.
Okay, thanks, Jangir, for that. I'll ask you, Sankalp, because I know Unai Emery. We're talking about Unai Emery. You see, the common figure is Unai Emery here. His current and his former. Yeah. So yeah, as your former coach, what do you think? Your former coach is more attacking with his current team, or was he more, or is your current coach with your current team is more attacking? What do you think?
So, Emery once
Good
said,
evening.
when he joined Arsenal, he once said, I would prefer winning 5-4 than winning 1-0. And I think he's finally coming to those words. I was just looking at the stats, right? Some basic things. If you look at the shots attempted, Villa are 6th in the league, Arsenal are 9th. If you look at the shots inside the box, Villa are third in the league with 100 shots being taken. From 6th total number of shots, they have moved up to third. Within the box, they have taken 100 shots already, and Villa are third in the league. Arsenal 6th. Right now, there's one interesting stat: shots taken from counter attacks. Aston Villa is leading them. They have 14 shots and they're leading it. Arsenal are way below, I think, outside top 10, which we generally are also because we are not counter-attacking, right? So what it means is basically if you look at shots inside the box, if you look at counter-attacking shots, it primarily means, those opportunities are coming to your primary striker, main striker, and that is Villa. That is Watkins in this case, right? So if I have to choose, if I have to forcibly choose, obviously, I think it is wiser to go with Watkins. He's the guy in stronger form. He's the guy who does not have an injury scare, right? Minutes are also not a concern. He played in the Champions, that Conference League as well. I saw he just got subbed out 81st minute and he scored a goal again. And so he looks in tremendous form. Most of the opportunities are going to come to him. And that's why it just makes sense to start with him, right? Should you get both? I think you should definitely get both. Both have value for money, and I think Saka will be the primary, goal getter or assist getter for Arsenal. He'll always be involved in the goals, just like Watkins. I think Saka has barely blanked. He had blanked only one match, which is Crystal Palace, where Odegaard asked for that penalty and he gave it off. Right, else he would have had more points. So, apart from the fact that he's he loves his teammates, he still gives you points. Again, one more thing, especially if you are in a non-Haaland draft, then you are forced to look for alternatives. And I think Watkins stands out as a captaincy option. With Saka, it's riskier because he's not a double-digit guy so far. He can give, but I think potential is always higher with Watkins. So even though I'm an Arsenal fan, my vote still lies with Watkins as a priority.
Wow. Okay. To summarize, I'll summarize it in a song again. Saka loves his teammates, and I think that just says for us FPL managers is "Pyar tune kya kiya? Ek hi pal mein achanak di hai nayi duniya," because we missed out on so many penalty chances because of that pyar. Anyway, I think this is more or less clear. If you can take both, go ahead with both. But if you have to really pick one, go with Watkins. I think that's the whole summary of it. But I think I will go with both, to be honest. I'm still kind of, I don't think so. There is a bit of a consensus when it comes to Haaland and Salah, but there is very clear consensus here that we kind of all agree, whether it's Watkins as one option and if it is two, great. Yeah. Okay. Then comes this two. Suddenly, the North London has become the center of all the attention because of a particular Australian, Might. So that might has made the world a completely different thing. Although his name sounds like more of a Greek guy, but he's actually Australian. So that Australian has revolutionized kind of, the team, and the team is playing like, those of us who watched cricket for a very long time knows Matthew Hayden. And of course, people know him as a commentator nowadays. But yeah, I think Matthew Hayden and Gilchrist, it was very difficult for us to pick back in those days as to who was the better opener. And I think now the situation is now, whether who's the better midfielder when it comes to these two. Ashfaq, the honors is yours to help us decide whom should we drop or should we keep both. Over to you, Ashfaq.
So regarding the argument between Son and Madison, I think is one of those things that many FPL managers have at this moment, myself included. So if you look at the stats, you'll see that the stats are not really different behind them, except for the fact that Son probably has the higher expected goals and expected goal involvements. Him playing as a striker, it shot up dramatically after in game week 3 or 4 when he switched to the center forward position, against Sheffield. That is when his ceiling got really higher. So you'll see that for the last few game weeks, both has been accumulating points. The Son is more of a goal scorer, and what you've seen in Madison is Madison is more of the assister, the chance creator. And like Sankalp said a bit earlier, that regarding them, that they're both great assets, and if you have any one of them, I think they will tick along and they will give you at least similar points. Although I think Son's ceiling is slightly higher, him playing as a striker, and I think he's on penalties as well. So another stat which is not shown here is that between them, they both have exactly 8 goal involvements this season. Son has scored 7 goals, although one of them was a hat trick, so that's a bit of skewed in his favor. So Son has 7 goals and 1 assist, while Madison has 3 goals and 5 assists. So 5 assists to 1 assist. You'll see that again, Madison is the assister, and Son is the goal scorer with 7 goals to 3. So there's not much to choose between the two, other than the fact that Son, is 1 million or so more expensive, 1.5 or 1 million so expensive than Madison. If you had to choose one of them right now, I would not, those who are on wildcard, I would not suggest to go for both of them, because they have some tricky fixtures in the near future. With they have Chelsea, Aston Villa, City, Newcastle in the next 6 fixtures or so. The next fixture, Crystal Palace's home, can also be considered a tricky fixture, because Crystal Palace historically is a bit strong at home. So we are not expecting a goal fest between Spurs and Crystal Palace. So those who are on wildcards, if you had to choose between them, if you had the money, I would say get Son, because I think he has the higher ceiling. He's on penalties. He has the higher goal involvements. His ceiling is considerably higher since he has been playing as a striker. But the thing with having Son is that probably it unbalances your team a bit, because we are also looking at premiums like Haaland, Salah, and Trippier as well. So if you can afford Son, go get him. But if you can't afford, and if you think getting Madison would bring better balance to your team, Madison is a great pick as well. And I think over the course of the season, his price will only go higher, because he's been involved in most goals for Spurs. So regarding the wild card, I think you should choose wisely to balance out your team. If you can afford him, go for Son. Otherwise, Madison is an excellent pick as well, because I think over the season they will give you similar points at the end of the season.
Thanks, Ashfaq. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me. Either I have lost touch with FPL, or you guys are playing a different game, and I don't know. Apparently, one thing is very clear to me, that Jahangir is definitely gone to the US not to study over there, but to focus on his FPL performance, and do a lot of data crunching and study FPL a lot, because he's doing great. When he was in Bangladesh studying in North South, he wasn't doing great, and every decision that he took went against him. So just goes to show, I mean, if he's doing too good, and if I see that his rank is continuing to improve until game week 20, I think I will just take a screenshot of his live rank and I'll go to his house and just show it to his parents.
I think going on a drive,
this is what
clears
your
his
son
mind and unlocks his intelligence and potential, etc. Going on drives, it does that to you.
Yeah,
you should
yeah,
try
but,
it. You should try it. The next pod, you should do it from your car. Dhaka traffic is standstill anyway, so it won't be an issue for you.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think the best way to stop Jahangir this season is to just take a screenshot and go to his parents and just tell them, look, this is what your son is doing actually in the US. Here is the report card, and you see he's been getting green arrow. I don't know about his studies, but this is what he's doing. So if you're wasting all your money on him, think twice. Yeah, and then probably a phone call, a panicked mother giving a phone call to and the rest is history. But anyway, I think this clears up, to be honest. And for me, I'm playing the wild card, and I still have the dilemma whether I should go with both and I should not go with both. But somehow, I just don't feel that people should go against these two this season. And I might not have a statistical argument behind it, but honestly, I didn't have a statistical argument when I said Madison was an option that you should consider at the beginning of the season. And I still don't have an argument whether Son and Madison should be in your team or not. I just feel that they're, it's not like, it's going to be a very rare week when both of them are not going to deliver. We didn't expect, and I think something that came out even in our zonal last week or a couple of weeks back is Son was picked up after his hat-trick, was a kind of a more important transfer in, and people got him because they saw Luton and they saw Nottingham Forest, and only to see that he failed to score against those two. But then in between those two fixtures, he had Liverpool and Arsenal, and in those two fixtures, Son actually delivered. So it's very difficult to actually predict when they're going to deliver, but they're definitely delivering, and they're delivering on a constant basis. So my argument is, if you are to sacrifice somewhere between Salah or somewhere between Haaland, make sure that you have these two combination, because this two combination can give you the edge that you need. Yeah, that's my understanding. But yeah, I could be totally off the game. As I said, I might be playing a different game than you guys are playing. Any comments on that, Sankalp?
I like the fact that we are discussing Madison so much nowadays, right? Nadim generally doesn't like the player.
The only reason I did not invest in Madison at the start of the season because Nadim Bhai took him, because of his love-hate relationship with Madison.
Honestly, Son hasn't been unpredictable, because against just before the game week against Liverpool, I said that in last 5 match between Spurs and Liverpool, Son has scored in all 5 of them, and in 4 of them he had goal and assist or double digits. So he always scores against big teams. So and he sometimes struggles against smaller teams or the low block teams. So this is why I was not worried about the fixture of having Son in the upcoming few game weeks, because Son will still score against the likes of Chelsea, United, City, Liverpool, whatever it is. But Madison may not score against those teams, because it will be difficult for a midfielder to get in and score. I mean, definitely it will be easier for Son because he stays in the box so well in a good position, and his finishing is superb. So even if he gets 1 or 2 chances, there is a high chance that he will convert those chances. And this is why I think in the upcoming little tough fixtures, it's better to have Son than Madison. But still, if you have budget issues, and if downgrading Son to Madison allows you the likes of Watkins, Saka, Haaland, Trippier, then it's worth it. That 2 millions, I mean, maybe you will gain 20 less points from Madison than Son in the next 5 to 6 game weeks, but you will also gain more than 20 points from the other players that you are taking with those 2 extra millions. So that's the point.
Well, no matter what you do, guys, I am not kicking Madison out, and that's me being Madison fan. Yeah, I think those who have no mean, and I think Sankalp touched upon it as already. It's interesting. Nadim Bhai is talking about Madison. Yeah, I was the one who kind of was screaming my lungs out at the beginning of the season, pre-game week 1, that you should get Madison in, and everybody was saying that's it. Poor guy went to a new team from Leicester, and Nadim Bhai is not sparing Madison either this time. But yeah, apparently I did manage to do well. Let's move to the next topic then. This topic is there. Who are the ideal 4th and the 5th midfield? Because with all the money that you're spending on these big shots, you still need to accommodate, and money is not. Everybody's having liquidity crunch these days. At least the managers can speak for them for it. So in that case, where do you get the money? And if you don't have the money, who are the 4th and the 5th midfield options? So I'll ask the manager, who knows about liquidity crunch very well, to actually speak up on this topic. Over to you, Ashfaq.
Are we going to the next slide? Oh, thank you. So the 4th and 5th midfield is a dilemma that we have right now, because we have some great budget options to consider, especially for people like Nadim Bhai who are on their wild cards. So we have Mitoma, we have Bowen, we have Diaby. Those are all in the 6.5 to 7.5 million ranges. So regarding Mitoma, as we have seen in recent games, that Mitoma has a high XG. Just a minute, please. Sorry. So Mitoma has a high expected goals regarding in Brighton's games. So Brighton had really tough fixtures from game week 5 to 10, I think. So there's a fixture swing right now. Brighton plays Fulham, followed by I think they have some easy fixtures on the corner with who does Brighton play next? 1 second. So Brighton plays
Should I
Everton.
make the slide bigger?
It's the slide, right? So Brighton plays Everton, Sheffield, Nottingham Forest. So those are really good fixtures to target from the attacking point of view. Although Brighton are not solid defensively, attack is their forte. So from the left side, what you have seen over the last 4 game weeks, Fulham has conceded only 8 chances, but Fulham has not been known to be defensively strong throughout the season. So Mitoma, being a bit of a talisman in the Brighton attack right now, can do some great damage to them. So regarding the next fixtures, Everton, Sheffield, and Nottingham Forest all are great fixtures. So at 6.5, I think he can be a great budget option to consider. Then we go on to Bowen. Bowen plays Everton this week. Everton, they are at home. Bowen is also rested tonight, I think. So he will be fresh for the Everton game. Followed by that, they have Brentford, Norwich, Nottingham Forest, and Burnley. So Bowen, you'll see Everton from their left-hand side has conceded 10 chances from their left-hand side. So Bowen, again, is someone who's really on form. So regarding him, I think he's a no-brainer if you have the budget to take him, because what we have seen with Bowen is that he has been their go-to guy, and at least 50 to 80% of all West Ham's goal involved has gone through Bowen. Defensively, West Ham has been conceding chances, but attackingly they're still very, very strong. So Bowen is their talisman, and if you can afford 7.5 or so on, I think Bowen's price is still increasing. It might increase another time before the next game week commences. So he is another great option. Our last option to consider is Diaby. So Diaby plays Luton this week. I have Diaby, so I was considering transferring him from him to someone like Mitoma or Bowen, but as you can see that Aston Villa plays Luton this week, and Luton from their left-hand side, where Diaby operates, has conceded 17 chances over the last 4 game weeks. Followed by that, they have Nottingham Forest, Fulham, and Tottenham is a tricky fixture to consider. But like Jangir said a bit earlier, that Villa goes, all out attack in their games right now. So we we are kind of expecting a goal fest against Luton. So regarding that, I think Diaby can score, cause some real good damage. So if I were to rank between them, I think Bowen would still be my number one choice because they have great fixtures, and Bowen, like I said, is a talisman for the West Ham attack. And if you are considering next, then I think Mitoma is a player that you can consider long term because his attacking threat and his guarantee of minutes, because Mitoma goes through most of Brighton's attack. Diaby, if you have Watkins in your team, I'm assuming most managers currently have Watkins in your team, then I think Aston Villa attack is mostly covered by Watkins. Diaby can be a great option, but I would still prioritize Bowen, Mitoma, over them. But for this game, if you're looking for a 1 week punt, Diaby is probably a great asset to hold. So we'll move on to our next options, I think. So other two options, budget options that we are going to consider as our fifth midfielder are obviously Gordon and Palmer. Gordon, since Harvey Barnes was injured, has been a revelation. 5.6 is nothing short of great value for a player starting every other game. Newcastle in the near future, near run, does not have the best of fixtures because Arsenal and Chelsea can be a tricky fixtures nevertheless, but they play Wolves and Bournemouth in the middle, and I think Gordon with his guarantee of starts can cause some great damage. And with 5.6 million, I think he's one of the best value midfielders you can buy right now. Regarding Palmer, initially during the season we did not consider him, but what we have seen that Palmer is playing as the attacking midfielder right now. He's playing through the middle, and a great advantage on Palmer is that he's on penalties. An attacking midfielder playing for a team like Chelsea on penalties is kind of like a no-brainer. What is putting people off Palmer right now is that his short-term fixture run. So this week they play Brentford, but followed by that they play Tottenham, City, and Newcastle, which are very tricky fixtures to consider. But for 5 million, you've had defenders who could do worse. So at 5 million, I think if you are looking to put up your assets, like you want to hold assets like Trippier, Salah, and Haaland in your team, I think Palmer can be a great enabler as your fourth or fifth midfielder to hold. So regarding the midfield discussion, that's it from me.
Thanks, Ashfaq. That was short and sweet. I can tell you that. I can vouch for it. Sankalp, anything to add on that?
Overall, I think I agree, especially when you compare Bowen, Mitoma, and Diaby. I like the approach. I think Bowen is the main man. He's a goal scorer. I like to start with him. Mitoma is the second guy I would like to get. Diaby is more expendable, primarily when you see that Watkins has come off form. Right? It was only in the earlier weeks where Watkins was more, setting things up, is when we were really, interested in Diaby, but now I feel the other two guys are, picking up. With respect to Gordon, I'm not a huge Gordon fan, and I just like players who are, more intelligent when they have the ball, not necessarily all about pace. And I feel, especially in England, you have a lot of pacey wingers, right? And people keep going for that. I think Gordon is that kind of asset. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I feel that a lot of development is required. So I just don't want to trust that fourth midfielder slot to him, primarily because I don't know what he does. Someday he'll get a very good chance, he'll convert. Someday he'll just keep going for things. He'll not pass at the right moments. I don't trust him enough, right? So that's where I am. Cole Palmer is an interesting player. I'm happier putting that fifth midfielder slot to him, primarily because, like Asfaq said, if you want to go, Salah, Son, Haaland, Trippier, you need to sacrifice somewhere, and 5 million seems like a decent enough price to sacrifice things with. And he is a penalty taker now, for sure. He's a first starter penalty taker for them, which makes things a bit more interesting. Ideally, if he's someone who's my first bench, I'll be more than comfortable.
Yeah, and I think Cole Palmer and Gordon. I mean, I would go with more with Cole Palmer rather than with Gordon, to be honest. But also the fact that there's so much budget crunch now with Haaland and Salah both finding form, and then you have Watkins and Saka and Son and Madison. Are they where to get all the money from? There is no interest. Also, you don't give. Like if you keep money in the bank, they don't even give you interest. That's the worst part. That's a new rule they should invest. Like the more money you keep in the bank, you get like 0.2 after every 3 game weeks. It's a good strategy. That way people would be more interested in keeping money in the bank, and we can gain in the ranks. It's easy for us to win then. Yeah. Anyway, let's move to the next topic, which is the burning topic, of course, for this week, which is the wildcard. So I'll bring the first wildcard draft. I will enlarge it for the audience to see. But audience, come on. Sankalp has joined us after a long time, and he's here with us for over the last 1.5 hours. And he's going to stay here for probably another 1 hour, because with all the topics and the question and answers. And all you guys do is just watch without actually liking the video. I mean, that is the worst way to treat a guest. Seriously. Come on, guys. You can do better. Come on. Really. Let's show him some love. Not to God of football, but show show the guests some love. Come on. So I'll just enlarge this, Sankalp, for you, so that you can just go on and do it. And this is a no Trippier draft, by the way. So there is no Trippier. Would you think this is an ideal team? And you can critically analyze this team as much as you can to tell us whether this is the type of team people should be looking for if they're playing the World Cup. So over to you, Sankalp, and I'll just enlarge it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good team for sure. You have Haaland and Watkins up front. I think they're the two best attackers, forward options to have. You have Salah, Saka, Madison, Bowen, Gordon, right? So four of the five at least I like for sure. Gordon looks like a strong favorite among the FPL community now, but the fixtures are turning a bit, right? Defense, I'm not as sure. I like Cass, Gabriel. You have good. You have Colville. You have Guehi. You have Simigas, right? So basically, what I'm saying is you have five playing defenders more or less, and you'll be benching two of them every week. So that's where I feel there's a bit of a anomaly, right? So ideally, I think I would like to reduce the money at least. Where do I put it? Areola and Turner, I'm not very sure. I think I would upgrade a Turner perhaps. Um, so I would like to take out that money from that extra defensive slot, extra defender where you've gone for five defenders. I would make it down to four and play a 3.9 million Burnley defender and use that point 0.5 to upgrade the goalkeeper. But apart from that, I think it's a fairly solid team. I like the fact that you have Saka, Salah, Haaland, Watkins, Bowen. All these players are primary kind of a talisman for the team. Madison is your, slight downgrade on Sun, but other than that, I think the teams looks really, really good. Just need to put some money on the goalkeeper because I'm not as sold on that Areola Turner, rotation. It's just you need to figure out who's your other goalkeeper.
Sorry. Ashfaq, any comments on that?
No, not really, because if I were on a so the only thing that I see missing here is probably a few Newcastle defenders, because I think Newcastle, although the fixtures can be tricky defensively, they're still a solid unit. So I would probably downgrade one of Colville or Guehi to a 4 million defender, or 3.9 or 4 million defender, and try to get one of maybe someone like Burns or even short-term Lascelles or something like that. Because I think when you are on a wild card, your uh, fifth or fourth or fifth defenders are something that you rarely change. Or goalkeepers are something that you rarely change. You usually focus more on the attack. So if I'm thinking long term, I would rather get in defenders from team who are, although fixtures can be tricky, but are prone to concede less chances, or are in general a solid defensive team.
And just want to add to it, while Newcastle do have tough matches, all of those three tough matches that we saw is at home, and at home they have beaten even PSG.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree. So let's move. Let's move to the next draft, and after that, I think we have the captaincy, and then we can quickly go into the question and answers. And I think the audience have been very patient listening to us for 1.5 hours, so that's great. Thank you so much, everyone, and we really appreciate all the likes that is coming in right now. So appreciate that very much. Okay, so this is the wildcard dream with Trippier, and I think I'll do this one because it has Haaland in it, and then there is the next one. We'll have no Haaland in it, so that will be done by Ashfaq. I honestly speaking, I really like this draft, to be honest, because it has Haaland and Salah. But the only downside here is that you don't have Trippier at all, or you have Trippier at least on the bench for now. So for this team, I really don't see any. If I mean, I'm playing my wild card, so this looks more like the wild card that I was thinking of. Having Watkins in front, having Haaland in front, I'm set for the attacking. I have Salah as in my team as well. I have Saka, as I've discussed. We have already discussed about the 6.5 midfield. The only problem here is, and that's where I'm a little bit concerned, is that I don't have Son, neither do I have Madison. And those are the two players that I'm very, very reluctant to leave behind. Um, so that's my concern. So I would rather, I'm not sure, and I find it very difficult to analyze because I'm caught into this dilemma whether, and this is a dilemma probably you guys will be able to better analyze, whether to go with Salah here, or should I stick to just take Salah out and just put Madison and Son in, and have Saka, Bowen, and Mitoma in my team along with Watkins and Haaland and Trippier and Cash and Gabriel and probably Areola. So that's the difficulty. So what do you think, Sankalp?
Yeah, this team looks really good. I like the front seven. I like the fact that you have Trippier, Gabriel, and Cass, right? And like we're talking about, you have one defender like Taylor who's at 3.9 million, and one 4.4 million guy who starts at least the next 6 matches, right? So this is closer to where I would like to go. I think the only downside is the Ariola Turner combo, but for this team, I'll be much more, okay going for that combo than the first one.
So would you say like Son and Madison not being in this team is okay to go with, or would it not?
Yeah, a bit
Oh my
tricky.
God, this is Nadim Bhai's wildcard team.
So
Go
it's a
on.
bit tricky, but I think over a short period of time, I'm comfortable doing that. Not for a long period of time. So basically, you have to. I don't think any of us are looking at Salah as a long-term option as much as we are looking at Haaland. So unless Salah continues to return at some point of time, 4, 5 fixes down the line, we just need to use that money to go back to a Sun Madison combo. Right? So Salah plus Mitoma goes back to a Sun plus Madison. You manage the rest of the change somehow.
Right. Okay. I think, yeah, that's a bit of an answer that I get. Still deep down, to be honest, I don't feel comfortable leaving Son and Madison out of my team. Still, I'm not confident enough. Although this looks like very much my wildcard team right now, but honestly, I just don't feel it. I just don't feel comfortable at all. It's like, don't do it. It's like the worst thing, like, parents screaming at you, Baba Kodishna, don't do it, son, don't do it. It's that sort of very dramatic Hindi serial, with the camera zooming in, that's the kind of situation I feel like, don't do it. Son and Madison, don't take them up. Yeah, that's how I feel. But anyway, enough with my dramas. But this is the no Haaland draft. Over to you, Ashfaq.
So many people are considering, not to have Haaland in their team. Jahangir Bhai, the professor, was one of them, and he's been doing really good. So people who have does not have Haaland are considering, because Alvarez has had almost a similar points score as him. So Alvarez, they're considering Alvarez as an able replacement. So in this draft, we have we'll start with the defenders here. So Gabriel Simicas, because of Arsenal's great fixtures run up ahead. Arsenal's, in general, is a good defensive team as well. So Gabriel is probably a no-brainer here. Cash, highest shots in the box for a defender. I think he often plays right wing. Short-term fixtures are okay. Long-term might be a bit tricky, but I think the point potential is there. So Cash is another great asset to hold. Simicas with Robertson's long-term injury. I think Simicas will be the primary left back in an attacking Liverpool side. Simicas is also on corners, set pieces. So there's great chances of bonus points there, provided Liverpool gets a clean sheet. I don't need to say much about Salah, because if you don't have Haaland in your team, obviously each and every week the captaincy will go to Salah. And people who have captained Salah over the last 2 game weeks at least has really gained ranks. Congratulations to them. Saka, for obvious reasons again. Talisman of Arsenal will be involved in most matches, although, like Sankal says, he's not a double-digit guy, but he's involved in most attacks. So a goal and assist here and there will probably go through him. Bowen, we have covered Bowen before. He's a talisman again for West Ham attack. He's someone on great form. So Bowen in your wildcard team would be a no-brainer at the moment. Madison and Son, we have covered a lot of things about Madison and Son, because their point potential over the next few games is still high, although the fixtures are a bit tricky. But Madison and Son, if of those people who have had both, has really gained rank because they have scored good points. Even if you don't have 2 of them, I think it's wise to have at least one of them, because Newcastle tops the league right now, and with their current attacking forte, I think it's wise to at least have one of them in your team. I think over the course of the season they will give similar points, but it will be your decision whom to place your bet on. Watkins, we have covered a lot on Watkins. Great form, good fixtures. Everything of Villa's attack goes through him. He was supposed to be in penalties, but penalties has gone to Douglas Lewis. Does not deter his point potential in any way. So Watkins is a no-brainer. And again, if you don't have Alvarez, you'll obviously if you don't have Haaland, you'll obviously have Alvarez in your team. Bench is Leno, Trippier, Taylor for bench fodder only. Taylor and Archer is for bench fodders only. And Trippier with, like I said, being a defender, highest, being a player, highest chances creator in the Premier League this season. So Trippier, I think, is one of the must-haves in your team if you can afford him. So this is a great draft for those who does not have Haaland or wants to go without Haaland in their team. But I would probably, I would rather see Mitoma, bring into this team somewhere in the 5 midfielders. So that is the only thing I think is probably a bit lacking in this team. Otherwise, I think if you're going without Haaland, this can be a great team to consider.
Sankalp, any additional comments, or else we move to the next one?
Yeah, I mean, the risk is Snow Island, and it can explode on you any day. But so far, Alvarez is doing well. He's matching Haaland more or less, and he's taking a lot of his opportunities away. So you never know. Other than that, I think the midfield is superb. Right, all the top. I think they're the top 5 players to have. The defense has Trippier as well, Right? So more or less fairly strong, and the goalkeeper is a bit more, you know, well structured compared to our last two drafts. So that helps.
Okay. Thanks, colleagues. And thanks, friends, for this great analysis, to be honest. Let's move to the next topic, and that's where the last section, and then we get into the question answers. Audience, just to let you know, all the questions that have come in, don't you worry, we'll answer them as quickly as possible. We won't keep you anymore, waiting for it. So don't worry about it, and we'll answer all your questions. So if you have sent a question, we'll definitely answer it. Even if it is one word, we will answer. Don't worry. Yeah. So let's move to the next topic, which is the captaincy, and that I will ask Sankalp to discuss this, and then we move to the question and answers. Over to you, Sankalp.
Yeah, I think it's a good week for again going a non-Haaland captaincy, right? While United do concede some big chances, and you can see they're still, I think, pretty low on big chances, right? So they're 19, so it's not a strong, stats wise. I don't think we are seeing Haaland looking statistically. Someone will score big this week. He'll definitely have chances to score. He might score, good chance that he scores, but I think the chance that the probability that he'll score big seems lower. And that's why if you look at Watkins, the guy who's on tremendous form, he's playing a team which is, I think, third on big chances conceded, and most of the metrics are looking really strong. Salah is playing a team which is, I think, a bit tougher, not only from a stats point of view, but also from the fact that whenever you see Liverpool play a deep defense, it also means that Salah stays wider than he can generally. Playing an attacking team where, like we saw last week, Everton played attacking football, and Salah could get into a counter-attacking position where he was closer to the goal, right? So that gets negated whenever they play a deep defense, and that's the reason he's not exactly on the top of my radar. And the stats also are confirming, the metrics are telling us a similar story. Saka, right? So I think Sheffield United concede a lot of big chances, and like we've spoken about a couple of times on this episode, Saka is the guy who will definitely be involved. So it just boils down to between Saka and Watkins. Uh, I think we made our feelings a bit clearer when we said, we would like to go Watkins over Saka even as a choice as a player, and I think it's same for me purely from a pick point of view. It's just that the ceiling of Watkins is higher than the
Much
ceiling of
higher.
Saka, I feel. But again, we have not seen Arsenal at its full potential, right? So whatever we are speaking as things stand today. Football changes in a matter of minutes sometimes, right? So you never know. We had one bad match, Chelsea. I think we are very very lucky to come away with a draw, but we played really well in the Champions League match, and you never know, that might spur an attack. But for me, the top two choices has to be between these two players. Watkins looks like a more logical pick to me, right? And Saka is the puntier one. You never know what you get.
You may lace chips, you don't know what you're gonna get, right? Was it lace chips? Who was it? You don't know what you're gonna get. There was
I
this
think it was
ad
Lace.
tagline, no? It was Lays, no? You don't know what you're gonna get. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. I think that wraps up the discussion, to be honest, for this week. So yeah, it's pretty interesting, pretty comprehensive, pretty detailed, lots of arguments, lots of disagreement, lots of consensus as at the same time. But yeah, now that we're getting into the question and answers, I'm just going to bring somebody whom Ashfaq calls him as Data Baba. Yeah. Okay. So let me just introduce, and everyone who follows Gono Football knows him very well. Please welcome, guys. Parvez is back. Welcome, Parvez.
ইয়া থ্যাংক ইউ নাদিম। আমার কথা কি শোনা যাচ্ছে?
Yeah.
হ্যালো আশফাক, হ্যালো সংকল্প।
Hyper is right.
So the background
Right.
of both of you looks really, really similar for some reason. Is there a reason?
Yeah,
It's just
See?
opposite to me.
look
Is
at
there a reason?
there is nothing. Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
There you go. Anyway, so we'll get a little bit of you'll get a little bit of echo.
Narin bhai, you are mute. Narin bhai, you are mute.
Sorry. I'm just trying to get my fingers used to now because we're sitting in the same room and I know there'll be a little bit of echo. So I'll try to
Yeah.
mute myself as well as Parvez randomly as quickly as possible to make sure that there is no what you call it, echo is kind of caught up in the camera or in the sound. But audience, no worries. Let's get straight into the show and also to the question and answers. And of course, we'll be answering. And Sankalp is here. He'll be there. We have discussed most of the topics, so we're not going to go into a lot of discussions or details into it, but we will try to answer your questions as much as we can in the best possible way. Yeah. All right. So Nazidal Shujan says, hello, everyone. Thank you so much, brother. Good to see you. And then Ifte Khairul Alam Bhai says, FPL Experts, Almiron versus Bulls away, or 50% chance of playing Jesus versus Sheffield. By the way, before I pass this question, Ifte Khairul Alam Bhai, we are not XPL experts. We are not. Nobody is an XPL expert. Yeah, we are just people who love to talk about FPL a little bit, and then we have a bit of information, and we have the data from Scout, so we kind of do that and do our analysis. So we try to share that with you, but we are not experts. Sankalp, would you be able to answer this question then? Question coming from Ifte Khairul Bhai.
A very tough choice, right? And a lot of it depends on Jesus news. I don't think Jesus will come off the bench for this match. It's either he starts or he does not, right? So that makes things a bit easier. You start Jesus. If you don't have any news, you start Jesus, right? If he starts, great. If he does not start, I think Almiron comes off the bench for you, right? So that's the way I would approach today. But if we get more news, and ideally, I think we should get some news around Jesus in the next couple of by tomorrow morning sometime, right? Because today I know that Gabriel Jesus had a scan scheduled, so tomorrow we should get some leak. But if you don't have a leak or if you don't get time, your bus team should have Jesus starting instead of Almiron, because I don't think he'll come off the bench for this one.
Right. Okay, so let's move to the next comment. Tanvita Latif says, Salam brothers, Walaikum Salam brother. And then he says, sound too low to hear, Bhayara. I'm not sure if people had difficulty throughout the show. Did you guys hear the sound low by any chance? Any one of you? Not really. Okay, so probably we had a bit of an issue in the beginning, maybe.
If
But
anything,
yeah,
you are
I hope
always
this was
loud.
okay.
So sometimes too loud.
That's true. That's true. I am loud. I am way too loud. I'm way too loud.
I wonder sometimes that why do you tend to use a mic, in your podcast anyway?
Yeah, that's true. But the truth is, I'm not the loudest in my family. That's the worst part. I'm considered to be the third loudest in my family. So you have two people who are still louder than me. One is kind of
yes.
yeah. You are very familiar, Ashfaq. You're very familiar.
I am witness to that. Yes. Very true.
Glad, Ashfaq. Glad you admitted. Okay, then Tanvitana says, hello, brothers. Good to see Mr. Sankalp and Mr. Professor. Yes, good to see you. This message comes for you, of course. Then Hamim Nunai says, Assalamu alaikum, people. Walaikum assalam, brother. And then Tamid Hossein Shakil says, Salah, Son, Bowen, Gordon আছে, Saka নেওয়ার option নাই, Saka বাদ রাখা কি ঠিক হবে? Ashfaq, question to you.
So this is a dilemma I myself have, whether to go with or without Saka, being the fixture, being Sheffield United. I think Saka is a pick for the long run. If you want to take Saka, it should be in the long run. You can't really go wrong with Saka because the fixtures are good. he does not have a risk of playing lesser minutes, but the potential is low, like Sankalp said, because right now we don't know who takes the penalties, and he does not tend to give double digits, although once in a while he might give, but he's not an explosive asset like you said. But over the course of the season, I think he's a steady pick. So I think it depends whether to get him in, you need to take a month, minor sits or something like that. If you are going to take minor sits, I think it might not be worth it. But if you can get him in your team, he's at any given day he's a good asset to hold, especially more against Sheffield.
Right. Thanks, Ashfaq. Then Nahid Shujan says, "Good to see you, Sankalp bhai. Welcome back." So people are really happy to have you, Sankalp. And yeah, you've become the guy, by the way. And it's not
But he's a celebrity, man. So it's normal.
Yeah, he is. He is, and he's become the guy, the first guy to ever appear in our show as an international guy, and then he's become the guy to listen to, which is true. And it's not something that we said it. It's something that we got many comments, and in the messages also. It's like, we should listen to this guy. You should bring him more and more. And okay, he said, like, okay, we'll try. Yeah. Okay. Now, moving on to the next comment. And before I move on to the next comment, if any of you who are watching today and you have seen Jahangir, he was wearing a leather jacket and he was driving his car, and then he was talking about FPL, and you probably thought like, wow, this guy is dedicated. Well, the real dedication comes out now. Oishi Rahman, so there's a girl following, says, "Are Professor JR?" So you get my point as to why he did what he did, yeah, and it's nothing to do. But Oishi, thank you so much for joining, and of course supporting Jahangir, and of course joining our show and watching it. Thank you so much. But Jahangir, this comment is meant for you, and we understand now why you were kind of wearing the leather jacket and driving the car and still talking about FPL. Yeah. I think anybody would do, right? I would do it too. Anyway, Abrashaya Bhuya Afif Bhai is back, and he says, game week 10 a captain Salah ki dile kemon hoy? Parvez, over to you.
ইয়া আসলে এই মুহূর্তে সালা যেরকম ফর্মে আছে, আমার মনে হয় যে খুব একটা খারাপ হবে না, কারণ এখানে সাকার কথা অনেকেই আজকে বলছে যে হ্যাঁ, জাহাঙ্গীর বলছে এবং সংকল্প তার সাথে একমত ছিল যে আসলে সাকা সেরকম বিগ হলার না, যে খুব বিগ পয়েন্ট দেয় এরকম না। সেই ক্ষেত্রে সালা কিন্তু এই টাইপের একজন প্লেয়ার, এবং আমরা ক্যাপ্টেন্সি অপশনে ওখানেও দেখছি যে আসলে সালার অপোনেন্টের ইয়েটা, তো আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে সালাকে খুব একটা খারাপ না আর কি ক্যাপ্টেন অপশনে এই গেমে, সো খারাপ হবে না।
So when Parvez, who was viewed as anti-Salah throughout this year, is now talking about Salah captaincy, things have changed. Yeah, things have changed. Okay.
One other information is that Salah is rested today. So against Nottingham Forest, that will be a rested Salah to play. Fully rested Salah to play against. So that is something in his consideration as well.
Okay. I don't think Nottingham Forest should be considered as a weak defense. And I think people tend to fall for this Nottingham Forest time and time again. But just a precise caution, to be honest. Okay, Sankalp, this is a big question, falls into your place. It's a team that has been shared, and you probably need to rate it a little. Yeah, usually Saif used to do this kind of thing, but sorry, Sankalp, it has fallen in your case. So the goalkeeper is Areola, Turner, defender is Trippier, Porro, Cash, Gabriel, Lamptey, midfielder is Salah, Son, Madison, Diaby, Bowen, forward is Alvarez, Watkins, Nunes, bank is 0.8 million, free transfers 2. Transfer plan, so he has questions, which is great. He didn't tell you to rate your team. He has transfer plans of Madison to Saka and Lamptey to Lascelles, or Madison to Martinelli and Lamptey to Simicas. My plan is to activate bench boost. Please suggest transfer plan and kindly share your opinion about the bench boost. Very precise question, so you.
Very good question. I think I understand because he plans to use the bench push. That's why there's a temptation to sell Lamptey, right? And it makes sense. Madison to Saka for this week. I would say, yeah, good move. And Lamptey to Lascelles looks like a good move, right? For the week as well as looking overall as well as a long-term point of view, at least for the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, because from what we have read now that Botman will be out a bit longer. Bench boost, great option. I'm not very sure. Uh, Alvarez, we are tricky there, right? I think Salah, Sanson is always good. So Saka is good. Diaby has a good match. So midfield and attack, apart from Alvarez, look good, solid. That's fine. Uh, Poro is there. Poro, Cass, Gabriel, Trippier. I would say it's okay. It's not a bad thing. I mean, the way his team is structured, it just makes sense, right? Most of us want to attack, a double game week with bench push, but I've seen it, plenty of times when you have, you sometimes you have more than 20 points left on the bench, and you do not go for bench push primarily because it was a single game week, right? His team is structured in a way where it just makes sense to activate bench push. So if you feel for it, I think you can go for it. The team is structured well. I don't see any issue. I mean, logic. Why not?
Yeah, I agree. And just to let everybody know, if you're thinking about why should I play my bench boost in a single game week, I played my bench boost in game week 2. I mean, sorry, game week 3, and I got 28 points with Cash scoring, I think, the majority of the points. So yeah, there you go. So it can always happen. It can always happen. Yeah. Okay. Hamim Nunahin says, who should be the only priority selling what price? Saka, Bowen, Diaby among midfields or Watkins? If I go for him, I will have to take a hit and very poor bench. Ashfaq, over to you.
Between the midfielders, I think Diaby. Between them, I think Diaby has a lower ceiling, although probably he has the one of the best fixtures against Luton. But I think the owners should be between Saka and Bowen. If your rank is good, if you are have a good rank, then I believe you can take Saka. That will protect your rank somewhat. But if you're chasing, I think you should go for Bowen.
Right. Okay. And then there's a couple of comments from here. Love for Harry Maguire from Nazmullah Hirok.
Of course.
Following his.
Of course.
Yeah.
He shared.
Yeah,
he shared. Nazmullah Hirok is an ex-colleague of Nadim Bhai. He is a mutual acquaintance of ours. That is actually how we got to know each other. So Nazmullah Hirok Bhai has shared we have a FPL messenger group. We have our own league, etc. So he has shared an Onana apology form. So if I could share that, I would have shared that. So it's a very interesting form. This has specific reasons as to why you judged, why you are apologized. You judged him too quickly. You listened to others, or you did not see the match as a whole, etc. So it's a really interesting Onana apology form. I think there should be one for Maguire as well soon.
Yeah, and Ashfaq, you should be the one who should be making that Maguire form, and you should be the one who should be filling it up first with all the answers that you come out with, or all the options that you come out with. You should be ticking in all those, because I've seen you. Yeah, I've seen you being critical, very extremely critical about Harry Maguire, like Khali English dekha, Khali English dekha, Khali English dekha. That was your repetitive comment, time and time again.
Hey, I said the same thing about Grealish as well. I said the same thing about Declan Rice as well. And I'm an England national team fan. So anyway.
Okay. Sankat then says, thank you guys for joining live. Yes, of course. Thanks everyone for joining live and still staying live and waiting for your question and answers. We are getting there. And thank you so much for all the love, guys. This has been an excellent show today. So yeah, this is a big question.
Oh,
in
thank
fact,
God.
so big that so big that even Parvez's face can't be seen. So, Parvez, I will just
Thank God, thank God.
read the question for you. আসসালামু আলাইকুম ভাই, কেমন আছেন আপনারা? আমরা ভালো আছি আলহামদুলিল্লাহ। পারভেজ ভাই নাই কেন আজকে? ওকে, পারভেজ ইজ ব্যাক, ইউ আর লাকি নাইম আহমেদ। আশফাক ভাই, যদি আপনার টিমটা নিয়ে একটু সাজেশন চাই। ওকে, আশফাক, থ্যাংক গড ইউ সেড, বাট অ্যাপারেন্টলি ইট সেজ আশফাক ভাই যদি আমার এই টিমটা নিয়ে একটু সাজেশন চাই।
You're reading it
So,
wrong.
Ashfaq,
It
it's
says
actually
Parvez.
followed-
It's saying Parvez in the comments. I'm seeing the name Parvez in the comments. It's Parvez Bhai's question.
No,
No.
Ashfaq,
This
my
is a
Bengali might
conspiracy.
be no, Ashfaq, just to be clear, my Bengali might be poor, but doesn't mean I don't understand basic Bengali. Yeah, it says where is Parvez Bhai, and then it says Ashfaq Bhai, if you can please suggest based on my team here. So Ashfaq, this question actually falls to you, and I'm not going to pass it on to Ashfaq Parvez. So stop saying thank God and try to read the question now. Areola, defenses, Cash,
This is
Trippier,
me
Gabriel,
taking over the
midfielder, Saka,
question.
Son, Madison. Forward
This
is
is me
Haaland,
taking over
Watkins,
the question.
Alvarez. আমি 3-4-3 খেলতে চাচ্ছি, সেই ক্ষেত্রে একজন মিড বেঞ্চ করা লাগে। এখন আমার মিডে যারা আছে সবারই ফিক্সচার ভালো, কাকে বেঞ্চ করতে পারি? একটাই, তিনজনই খেলাবো, কারণ শেফিল্ডের সাথে লাস্ট ম্যাচে ইউনাইটেড আশানুরূপ খেলতে পারে নাই। ম্যান ইউনাইটেডের সাম্প্রতিক ফর্ম দেখে মনে হয়, and then I don't know what it is.
Yeah, so he wrote
It
something
just
else.
can't fit in anymore.
That the comment could not be fitted
Just
in.
couldn't fit anymore.
So, Naim Ahmed Bhai, you have an excellent team. It's a team to be jealous of. So I hope that your rank is great. I hope you do great, first of all. And if I had this team, I would have sleepless nights because I really don't know who to bench. Cash, Trippier, Gabriel, I would play definitely. Saka, Son, Madison, Mitoma, Diaby. I'll go step by step. I'll go by elimination. I'll play Haaland. I'll play Watkins. I'll play Saka. Sheffield is obviously, if you're gonna play Saka against Sheffield, I would have played Mitoma. Mitoma against Fulham is a good fixture. If you have Diaby, obviously, if you're not going to play Diaby against Luton, then when you're going to play him? So I'll play Diaby as well. So the onus would be on between Son, Madison, and Alvarez. Son, I think, has the slightly higher ceiling than Madison, so I play Son as well. So the ultimate decision would be between Madison and Alvarez. Madison and Alvarez, I reluctantly might bench Madison because Crystal Palace are strong at home, and I'm not expecting a high-scoring match either way. So Alvarez, on the other hand, is someone on form, and Pep already said that he's undroppable. So between them, I would probably slightly reluctantly bench Madison. But it would be between last minute decision between Madison and Alvarez. But otherwise, it's a really envious team you have. Good luck to you.
Thanks, Ashfaq. That was well done. And now we can all see our face again. Okay. Next question falls on to Parvez. Mahbub Shakib Bhai says, how are you guys doing? Good to see Sankalp Bhai. Oh, this is not a question. Sorry. This is more of a comment for Sankalp. Good to see Sankalp Bhai and Professor Bhai. Yeah, we were glad and honored to have both of them together today because this was such a mega pod. Then Muhammad Habibul Alam says, Udogi or Walker, which player I should keep in starting 11? Over to you, Parvez.
এই ক্ষেত্রে আমি সাথে ম্যাচ ক্রিস্টাল এই মুহূর্তে তাদের বিভিন্ন অ্যাটাকিং প্লেয়ারদের একটা অভাব তাদের টিমের মধ্যে, লাইক অনেক প্লেয়ার ইনজুড অ্যাটাকিং প্লেয়ার গুলা। তো আমি এই ক্ষেত্রে উডুজিকে খেলাবো বিকজ ক্রিস্টালের সাথে খেলা এবং ক্রিস্টাল স্কোরিং এর দিক থেকে গোল স্কোরিং এর দিক থেকে একটু কম থাকবে। আর যেহেতু ওয়ালকার খেলবে ম্যানচেস্টার ইউনাইটেডের সাথে, সেই ক্ষেত্রে আসলে ক্লিন শিটের পসিবিলিটিটা হয়তো বা কম থাকবে ওয়ালকারের। এবং উটুজিকে যদিও এই ম্যাচে ইনজুরির কারণে বা যে কোনো কারণে উঠাই নিছিল, আমার মনে হয় প্রিকশনে তাকে উঠায় নেওয়া হয়েছিল। তো আমি এক্ষেত্রে উটুজিকেই খেলাইতে যাব।
Thanks, Parvez. And then the next comment is incomplete, but I see going down, I see that he has actually completed the comment. So I will bring that comment when it comes up, yeah. But I will follow the serial, otherwise I cannot break the sequence here. So I'll just bring it up later on. Abra Sharia Bhuya Afif Bhai says, Almiron Palace সাথে start করার কতটুকু chance আছে? So basically, question falls to you, Sankab, and the question is basically saying, what's the possibility in terms of percentages that Almiron will start against Palace?
I don't think he's a genuine starter anymore, right? It's more of a 50-50 kind of thing. But the fact that Isaac has got injured, right? You never know whether how he wants to play his team around. Wilson played a lot of minutes in the Champions League match. Again, Wilson is also coming off injury, right? He had his injury in between, so that's the reason I think it's a good punt to take. It's a decent fixture, but I don't know the rest of your team. If you have a solid team, I would rather bench Almiron rather than start him. Right? But if you don't have options, I would say play him. Right? Take your chances.
Thanks, Sankalp. Ashfaq, question falls for you. Hamim9 says, Areola, Turner, Trippier, Simicas, Cash, Udogi, Kabore, Salah, Gordon, Son, Madison, Ward-Prowse, Haaland, Alvarez, Archer, 2 free transfers, 1.1 million in the bank. Wildcard played already. That's not a question. That's more of a comment. So I don't know whether we should. Okay. Thanks, Hamim9, for sharing this team with us. Appreciate that, brother. But if you have more concrete questions, probably we'll try and answer.
Yeah, so I think he's looking for transfer suggestions or something like that. He has 2 free transfers, 1.1. He has 2 free transfers, 1.1 in the bank. Regarding your team, obviously you're going for the 3-5-2 formation, I assume. If you can afford from James Ward-Prowse to Bowen, I think that's a straight transfer you can make. Otherwise, Mitoma can be a good option too. So I don't see a priority transfer in other sections in the team. I think Udogi could be your first bench and play a 3-5-2 with James Ward-Prowse to Bowen if you can afford him. Otherwise, Mitoma is a good option to have as well.
Thanks, Ashfaq, for solving that problem. Otherwise, I was a little bit lost about what to do with that question. Then Parvez, Mahbub Shakib is asking, Pedro Neto keep or upgrade to Mitoma or someone have budget up to 7 million. My goodness me. Cash.
থ্যাংক ইউ নাদিম। আসলে পেড্রো নেটোর ফিকচারটা এখন একটু টাফ হয়ে যাচ্ছে, যদিও সে ইনফর্ম প্লেয়ার এবং ব্যাক টু ব্যাক সে স্কোর করে যাচ্ছে, একটা সম্ভবত ব্ল্যাঙ্ক, বাকি সবগুলো ম্যাচেই কোনো না কোনো অ্যাটাকিং রিটার্ন আছে। বাট এই মুহূর্তে আসলে মিটোমার জোনাল, আমরা যেটা আসলে জোনাল ওয়াইজ আমরা একটা ট্রান্সফারের ইয়াতেও দেখছিলাম যে আমরা এই গেম উইকে কিন্তু জোনাল থেকে মিটোমাকে ট্রান্সফার সাজেস্ট করছি বিকজ অফ তার নেক্সট ফিকচার গুলা, নেক্সট 3টা ফিকচারে কিন্তু তার অপোনেন্টের ইয়াগুলো খুবই মানে ভালো। তো সেই ক্ষেত্রে আমি মিটোমাকে এই মুহূর্তে নেটোর জায়গায় নিতে যাব অবভিয়াসলি।
Thanks, Parvez. Short question for you from Prime Islam, Sankalp, cash or white?
I think with the fixtures, white comes out as a better long-term option. Cash is a guy on form, but fixtures fizzle down sooner. Ideally, you should have had Cash, 2-3 weeks back, but it's okay. If you have missed that boat, you don't have to forcibly go there. I would say go white.
Okay. Right. Okay. And here is the question that we didn't answer last time because it was incomplete. Asan Biplab questions. Ashfaq, question falls for you, of course. Areola, Turner, Udogi, Gomez, Gabriel, Anderson, Taylor, Salam, Bomo, Madison, Saka, Anderson, Hoyland, Haaland, Watkins. 0 million in the bank. 1 free transfer. Need some suggestion for the upcoming game week. Best 11, please. Go ahead, Ashfaq.
First of all, I'm not sure that whether Gomez means Sergio Gomez or someone else. So regarding your defender, I'm a bit unsure, but The team is okay. I'm assuming you're playing 3-4-3. Obviously, play Areola over Turner. Turner plays Liverpool, so Areola against Everton is a better option to hold. Udogi, Gabriel are two defenders I would play. Salah, Mbeumo, Maddison, Saka, obviously. Højlund, Haaland, and Watkins. Although one of the priority transfers next week should be maybe get Højlund out because he has had a slow start to his United career. If you had one FT, I would rather invest it in defense because if you can afford Tsimikas for Gomez, I don't know which Gomez this is. So if you can afford Tsimikas for Gomez, I think that can be a good shout. Anderson, Tsimikas for Anderson can be a good option too. So take your pick. I think Tsimikas is a good asset to have at the moment.
Guys, thank you so much for still staying with us for so long. And it's been quite long, and I know you've been very patient. But if you haven't really liked the content, please do so. You're just listening. We are trying to talk, and we are trying to answer, and we are trying to focus, and we're trying to give you a solution. So if we are answering your questions, please do give us a like. And thank you so much for staying with us. Really appreciate this. This is brilliant. And you all are really showing the love to Sankalp here, which is great, and to Ghana Football. So thank you so much for that. Parvez, next question comes to you. Jahanul Islam, Bowen, Mitoma, Diaby, which one for the next 4-game weeks?
Bowen. I like to go with Bowen. বিকজ অফ বোয়েনের নেক্সট ফিকচার গুলোও ভালো এবং জোনাল ওয়াইজও দেখা যাচ্ছে যে ঠিক ওই পজিশনটাতে অপোনেন্টদের জোনাল র্যাঙ্ক গুলোও যথেষ্ট ভালো, যেখানে জুসি এবং বোয়েনের ফিকচার এই এখন পর্যন্ত ওয়েস্ট হ্যামের প্রথমবারের মতন ফিকচার শিফট হলো। এর আগে যে ফিকচার গুলোতে তারা খেলছে প্রত্যেকটাই টাফ ফিকচার ছিল এবং এই টাফ ফিকচারের পরও বোয়েন কিন্তু কনসিস্টেন্টলি একটা স্কোর করে গেছে। আই হোপ যে এই সামনের যে ফিকচার গুলো এগুলা লট মোর ইজিয়ার দেন প্রিভিয়াস ফিকচার গুলা। তো এইখানে আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে বোয়েন, এই তিনজনের মধ্যে বোয়েন ইজ দ্য বেস্ট অপশন।
Okay, Sankalp has to leave, unfortunately, because his baby is just awake. So he has to go because his baby is awake. And as a father, I think that's more important for him to go and attend his baby rather than just to, stay with us and discuss. And I think he's already
so
spent
because
2 hours
Nadim
with
Bhai
us,
was
which
so
is great.
loud,
We
the baby,
appreciate
he made the baby awake or something like that.
Right. So thanks. And so he had to leave. Yeah. So that's just that, yeah. So over to us now, guys. And here it is. Let's go with the next one. Mohammad Asikul Islam says, suggest midfielder budget 9.4. Already have Son, Madison, Saka, Salah. Need Mbeumo replacement, and Watkins and Alvarez is my forward. Ashfaq, over to you.
Why would you need an Mbeumo replacement? Because Mbeumo is coming off a 14-point haul, right? I'm not sure Mbeumo is a priority transfer for any team right now. But other than that, at 9.4, well, there are plenty budget options right now you can consider. But I think Bowen should be one of the priority midfielders you can take in if you have the budget of that sort. So between Bowen or Mitoma, you can take your pick, but probably Bowen is the slightly more priority between them.
Right. Okay. And then the next question comes from Tanvir Latif Bhai. As an Arsenal fan, due to my severe indecision from whom to take, decided to take none altogether. Wow. Okay. That's great. Sankal would have been very happy about to see that. But anyway, 86 AKM Fime says, Son to Saka Korbo. Parvez?
অ্যাজ ফার ফিকচার যদি দেখা যায় তাহলে সন টু সাকা ইজ এ ভেরি গুড মুভ, বাট সন ছাড়া যদি অন্য কোনো প্লেয়ার থেকে যাওয়া সম্ভব হয় তাহলে ওটা আরো বেশি ভালো হবে, সন এবং সাকাকে দুজনকে রাখতে পারলে। বাট এই মুহূর্তে যেহেতু সাকা একটা প্রায়োরিটি ট্রান্সফার এবং সব ক্ষেত্রেই সাকার নামটাই আসতেছে এবং সাকার অন্য জিনিসগুলো মোটামুটি ভালো, বাট পেনাল্টির ক্ষেত্রে সাকা থাকবে কিনা এটা একটা কোয়েশ্চেন। বাট সাকা যদি আপনার টিমের জন্য আসলে অপরিহার্য মনে করেন যে হ্যাঁ সাকাতেই আমি যাব, দেন গো উইথ সাকা। বাট এই মুহূর্তে সনের যে জিনিসটা আমি বলবো যে সন কিন্তু ইনফর্ম এবং এনি কাইন্ড অফ ফিকচারে সে হলো ফিকচার প্রুফ প্লেয়ার। সে ইজি ফিকচারের চাইতে টাফ ফিকচারে এই সিজনে এখন পর্যন্ত বেশি স্কোর করছে। সো আমি না বলবো না আবার হ্যাঁও বলবো না, বিকজ এটা সন। হ্যাঁ, এই ক্ষেত্রে আমি আসলে একটু সনের সাথে থাকতে যাবো আর কি। বাট সাকা যদি আপনার কাছে মনে হয় আপনি যাইতে পারেন, সেক্ষেত্রে আমার কোনো মানে বাধা থাকবে না।
Thanks, Parvez. Then next question is by him again. 86 AKM Fine Bhai. He says, Gordon ke nibo? Ashfaq. Ashfaq, you're
Sorry.
muted.
Sorry. Gordon কে নিবেন নেন?
What do you mean by that?
What else can I
What's that
say?
cheeky smile about?
If someone
No,
wants
what's
to
that-
take Gordon, then they should take Gordon if they can afford them. Gordon 5.6 with his
That's a serious
fixtures.
question.
Gordon at
That's a serious
5.6.
question.
We had this discussion between Gordon and Palmer. On the long run, I think Palmer is a better choice, but short-term fixtures, I think Gordon can be a good option against Wolves. I think he does not have immediate competition in his place right now. He's scoring goals, looks to be on form. Palmer over the long run, I think, is the better choice, but Chelsea's short-term fixtures are tricky. So short term, I think Gordon is a good choice. In the long run, maybe when the fixtures turn, you can switch to Palmer when there's a chance.
Right. Okay. Parvez, over to you with this question. Asan Biplab Bhai is asking, Team Dawas already. Need some suggestion for the upcoming game week. What will be the best 11? Over.
থ্যাংক ইউ নাদিম। বুঝি ক্যাশ গ্যাব্রিয়েল অ্যান্ডারসন নটেড সালাতন মেডিসিন সাকা বই মেডিসিন সাকা বই আসলে টিমের আমি যেটা দেখতেছি ফ্রি ট্রান্সফারটা আসলে এই মুহূর্তে খুব একটা এমন একটা জায়গায় আছে যে ফ্রি ট্রান্সফার গুলো ইউজ করার জন্য একটা অপশন দরকার। সেই অপশন গুলো আমি কোনো রকম দেখতেছি না, কারণ নুরুজি, ক্যাশ, গ্যাব্রিয়েল তিনজনেই এই মুহূর্তে খুবই প্রায়োরিটি প্লেয়ার। তার সাথে অ্যান্ডারসন আছে, যেখানে আমরা 13 গেম উইকে যাই আসলে অ্যান্ডারসনের প্রয়োজন পড়বে। নেক্সট ফিক্সার থেকেই অ্যান্ডারসন ভালো। লামটে এখানে একটা প্রবলেম, আপনি যেহেতু আপনার মিডফিল্ড সালাসন, মেডিসন, সাকা, বোয়েন এই 5 জন প্লেয়ারই আছে, যে প্লেয়ার গুলো আসলে এই মুহূর্তে খুবই প্রায়োরিটি প্লেয়ার, এবং আপনার ফরওয়ার্ড লাইনে ওয়াটকিন্স এবং আলভারেজ আছে। সো এই জায়গাটা আসলে ফরওয়ার্ডেই আসলে কোন রকম চেঞ্জের আমি প্রয়োজন দেখতেছি না। ওয়াটকিন্স এবং আলভারেজ যেহেতু দুইজন আছে, এখানে আপনি পান্ট হিসেবে যেহেতু 2টা ফ্রি ট্রান্সফার আছে, আই লাইক টু গো উইথ উইলসন অর ডারউইন। একটা অপশন হইতে পারে, যদিও ডারউইন আজকে স্টার্ট করছে, আমি জানি না সে আসলে ইনজুরি ফ্রি হয়ে উঠতে পারবে কিনা মাঠ থেকে। বাট এখানে হয়ল্যান্ড থেকে এখানে ডারউইন একটা অপশন পান্ট হিসেবে যেতে পারেন, এবং আপনার ডিফেন্স লামটেকে আপনি এখানে আপগ্রেড করতে পারেন। লাইক কোনো নিউক্যাসলের ডিফেন্স দিয়ে, লাইক বার্ন, এরকম ডিফেন্স দিয়ে আপনি আপগ্রেড করতে পারেন। এন্ড হোয়াট উইল বি দ্য বেস্ট 11? সেই ক্ষেত্রে আমি বলবো যে অ্যারিওলা আপনার গোলকিপিং থাকবে, এবং আপনার টিমের মধ্যে থাকবে হলো গ্যাব্রিয়েল, ক্যাশ এন্ড উডোজি। দেন সালাসন 5 জন মিডফিল্ডারকেই খেলাবো, এবং ওয়াটকিন্স এবং আলভারেজকে আমি এখানে রাখবো। এইটা হলো আমার যদি খেলাইতাম, এইটা হলো আমার বেস্ট 11 থাকবে। সো 3-5-2।
Thanks, Parvez. Yeah. Okay. I just lost track of the questions here. Sorry. Let me just get it back. Yeah, they got it. Okay. And then the question comes from 86. AKM Fine By says, Halan ke ki sell korbo? Ashfaq. No, don't say sell karen. Don't say that.
No. I was trying to say that I wouldn't recommend selling Haaland at any given moment. There's the Twitter hype on having a better balanced team of of going without Haaland. So a lot of managers have gone without Haaland, have gone have done good as well. Jahangir Bhai included, but I don't see the hype of selling Haaland. Haaland has 9 goals in 9 games. The thing with Haaland is he has set such a level of expectancy from him that even when he's having a not an maybe remarkable season, a great season. I'm not saying remarkable. 9 goals in 9 games with 1 assist is still a great season. So even when he's having a great season, we are considering no, he's not playing good or he's worth selling, etc. So I think we need to take into consideration that 9 goals in 9 games is still a um, great achievement for any striker at any given day, especially in the competitive league like the Premier League. And Haaland is not someone who's lost form. Haaland also scored 2 goals in the midweek Champions League game as well. So he's not like someone who's not on form. He will get really maybe 5 chances. He will score 1 or 2, but he will still get 5 chances, or he'll create 5 chances for him to score. So I don't think Haaland is a priority sell for any managers out there. I would rather, have Haaland and both Saka in your team and make adjustment elsewhere to have both of them in your team. So Haaland selling is a no-go for me or any manager I would give advice to.
Okay, thanks, Ashfaq. That's quite detailed. AKM Fine by is asking Parvez, Son to Saka korbo, Haaland ke ki sell korbo, Gordon ke ki nibo. Over to you, Parvez.
ইয়া থ্যাংক ইউ কোশ্চেনটার জন্য। আসলে আমি একটু আগেও বলছিলাম যে সন টু সাকা এই ট্রান্সফারটাতে আমি একটু ডিসএগ্রি করব, বিকজ সন যে কোনো ফিকচার প্রুফ প্লেয়ার। ইভেন একটা সিজনে আমার কাছে মনে আছে যে আমি স্টার্টিং এ সনকে নিয়েছিলাম এবং নাজিম আমাকে ওখানে ইন্সপায়ার করছিল যে হ্যাঁ সন আসলে যে কোনো ম্যানচেস্টার সিটির সাথে খেলা ছিল, সেটা সম্ভবত গেমিং সেকেন্ড গেমিংয়ে, এবং আমি সনকে নেওয়ার কারণে একটু লাভবান হয়েছিলাম সেখানে, যে সিটির সাথে সে স্কোর করছিল এবং আহ, সেই জিনিসটা হলো 1 থেকে 2 সিজন আগে। তো সেই ক্ষেত্রে আমি বলবো যে সিটির মতন টিমের সাথে সন স্কোর করার অ্যাবিলিটি রাখে। এবং আরেকটা জিনিস হলো সন কিন্তু বিগ হলার, আসলে সন যখন স্কোর করে তখন 14-15 এরকম স্কোর করে। তো সেই ক্ষেত্রে আমি সনকে সাকার জায়গায় কনভার্ট করতে চাবো না। বাট যদি আপনার কাছে মনে হয়, কারণ এই সিজনটা আসলে বিভিন্ন রকম ভাবে খেলা যাচ্ছে, যেখানে আসলে সব প্লেয়ারই পয়েন্ট দিচ্ছে, বাট সবার পক্ষে সম্ভব না আসলে সব প্লেয়ারকে নেওয়া। তো আপনার কাছে যদি মনে হয় যে সাকা, দুইজনই আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে দুইজন কাকে যদি রাখতে পারেন সেটা বেশি বেটার হবে। বাট যদি কোয়েশ্চেন আছে যে কোনো একজন কাকে রাখবেন, তাহলে আই উইল লাইক টু গো উইথ সন। এন্ড দেন হ্যালান্ডকে কি সেল করবো, যেটা আসলে আশফাক একটু আগে বললো, যে সেই ক্ষেত্রে আমিও আশফাকের সাথে একমত থাকবো যে আমি হ্যালান্ড সেলার হিসেবে আমিও না যে হ্যালান্ডকে সেল করবো। জাস্ট হ্যালান্ড হয়তোবা তার এক্সপেক্টেড অনুযায়ী স্কোর করতে পারতেছে না, দ্যাটস ওয়াই হয়তোবা হ্যালান্ড উপর থেকে অনেকেই বলতেছে যে 14 মিলিয়নের হাতি পালতেছি আর কি, এই এই ধরনের একটা কথা আমি প্রায় ফেসবুকে দেখতেছি। বাট আসলে 14 মিলিয়ন সে আসলে ডিজার্ভ করে, যে 14 মিলিয়নটা লাস্ট সিজনের পারফরমেন্স। তো আমি এই মুহূর্তে হ্যালান্ডকে সেল করতে যাবো না, বিকজ অফ যেহেতু এক গেমিং পরেই হলো তার বনমাউথের সাথে খেলা, যেখানে বনমাউথ খুবই লিকি। বাট গর্ডনের ক্ষেত্রে যেটা হলো গর্ডনকে নিব কিনা, এই ক্ষেত্রে আমি একটা জিনিস এখানে উদাহরণ হিসেবে নিয়ে আসবো, যে এখানে গর্ডন এবং পালমারের যে আমরা একটা কম্পারিজন করছিলাম, সেই ক্ষেত্রে আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে গর্ডনের চাইতে এই মুহূর্তে বেটার অপশন হইলো পালমার, বিকজ অফ পালমার 5 মিলিয়ন, এবং 5 মিলিয়নে পালমার আপনার পেনাল্টি টেকার, যেখানে গর্ডন যে কোনো ম্যাচে 60 বা 70 মিনিট পরে উঠে যাইতে পারে বা এরকম সামথিং লাইক হইতে পারে। এবং তারা আর একটা জিনিস হলো, তারা গর্ডন হলো আপনার চ্যাম্পিয়ন্স লিগ খেলতেছে এবং এফএ কাপেও তারা এখন পর্যন্ত আছে। সেই ক্ষেত্রে তাদের রোটেশনের একটা চান্স থাকবে, যে প্লেয়ার গুলো মিনিট কম পাবে, সেখানে পালমারের চান্সটা বেশি থাকবে এবং পালমার একজন পেনাল্টি টেকার। তো আমি এই ক্ষেত্রে পালমারকে বেশি ফেভার করবো গর্ডনের জায়গায়।
Thanks, Parvez. Thanks. Very comprehensive. Mahmoud Shakib Bhai is asking, Tsimikas is not in today's Liverpool squad. Thought about that. Ashfaq.
So regarding Tsimikas' involvement, if you have heard Jurgen Klopp's press conference last week, you'll find that he mentioned that Tsimikas will not play every game. He will be rotated. Joe Gomez can play there, and he has some under 20 youth player as well. I forgot his name, who can play there as well. I think he's playing today. I'm not. I don't know his name, or I forgot his name. So Tsimikas obviously won't play every game, and he's rightly rotated. He was, subbed off at the probably 65th minute mark last game week. He was rested today, but he was on the bench, so it does not mean he was injured. He was benched, so that goes to increase his likelihood of starting the next game against Nottingham Forest anyway. So I think that is good news for Tsimikas owners. If you plan to bring on Tsimikas, I don't think there's lesser risk now. There's a lesser risk of him, being on the subs bench against Nottingham Forest. So I think that's nothing to be worried about. I think Tsimikas starts against Nottingham.
Mahmoud Sakib bhai, a piece of caution. Do not hear an advice about Liverpool players from Manchester United fans. You should hear about Liverpool from Liverpool fans.
You are being
And
cynical.
Saif said last
I'm thinking of having Tsimikas in my team myself. So you're being cynical here.
I know. I'm just saying what Saif said last week. He was discouraging as a Liverpool fan. Yeah. And Parvez wants to say something. So Parvez, over to you.
থ্যাংক ইউ নাদিম। আসলে লাস্ট গেম উইকে আসলে এটার উপর একটা ভালো কথা বলছিল সাইফ, যে এখানে রোটেশনের চান্স থাকতে পারে, বাট আমার কাছে যেটা মনে হয় যে 4.5 এখন 4.5 দাম হয়েছে, যখন আসলে কথাটা বলছে যখন 4.4 ছিল সিমিকাসের দাম। তো রিস্ক তো একটা থেকেই যাবে, এবং রিস্ক সব জায়গাতেই হবে। তো আমি একটা জিনিস সবসময় বলি যে রিস্ক তো স্পাইডারম্যানকেও নিতে লাগে। তো বাট এই রিস্কের এগনেস্টে আপনার যে আপকামিংটা থাকবে, এটার হায়ার আপসাইড আছে। আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে সিমিকাসের হায়ার আপসাইড আছে, যেখানে রিস্কটা প্রত্যেকটা প্লেয়ারের ক্ষেত্রেই থাকবে, বাট সিমিকাসের ক্ষেত্রে আমার মনে হয় যে লিভারপুলের লং টার্ম একটা ফিকচার, ইজি ফিকচার, এবং তার সাথে যেহেতু রবার্টসন অ্যাটলিস্ট 2 থেকে 3 মাস নাই, তো আমার কাছে মনে হয় হায়ার আপসাইড আছে সিমিকাসের। এই সামান্য রিস্ক নেওয়ার জন্য, আসলে এই হায়ার আপসাইড গেইন করার জন্য সামান্য রিস্ক নেওয়া যাইতেই পারে। তো আই লাইক টু গো উইথ সিমিকাস। আমি পার্সোনালি আমার টিমেও সিমিকাসকে রাখছি।
Now that is very convincing because it came from a Liverpool fan. So I'll take it. I'll take that. Yeah. But I wouldn't take what Ashfaq said. I wouldn't take it. No. Okay. Next question is a big one. It comes from Anupam Devnath and falls for you, Parvez. Hello, brothers. Ederson and Turner in goalkeeper, Trippier, Udogi, Cash, Saliba, Badlock in defense, Saka, Madison, Sterling, Ward-Prowse, Mbeumo in midfield, Haaland, Watkins, Alvarez in forward, 2 FTs available, wildcard also available. Suggest 2 point transfers, naki ei week wildcard activate kore felbo. Overall rank 1,03,000. Thanks in advance. Over to you, Parvez. Thanks in advance.
ইয়া, থ্যাংক ইউ। আসলে এই জায়গাটাতে যদি দেখা যায় যে আসলে কোন প্লেয়ার গুলাতে পান্ট নিতে হবে, আপনার এই টিমটা যেটা আমি দেখতেছি যে কারণ ট্রিপিয়ার, উডুজি, ক্যাশ তিনজনকে খেলানোর মতো, ইভেন সালিবা, অর্থাৎ 4 জন প্লেয়ারকে আপনি খেলাইতে পারবেন। তো এখানে আমার মনে হয় না যে ডিফেন্সে কোনো চেঞ্জ প্রয়োজন আছে। এবং মিডফিল্ডে আমি যদি দেখি সাকা, মেডিসন, স্টার্লিং, ওয়ার্ড-প্রাউস এন্ড দেন এমবুয়েমো। তো এমবুয়েমোর ক্ষেত্রে যেটা হলো চেলসির সাথে খেলা, চেলসি ডিফেন্সিভ ওয়াইজ খুব ভালো খেলতেছে, এবং ওয়ার্ড-প্রাউসের যেটা হলো আমরা যেটা এক্সপেক্ট করছিলাম সেই এক্সপেক্টেড অনুযায়ী সে পয়েন্ট দিতে পারতেছে না। এবং ফরওয়ার্ড লাইন হলো হ্যালান, ওয়াটকিন্স এবং আলভারেজ। তো পান্ট হিসেবে যদি এখানে নেওয়া যায়, তাহলে এই গেমিকে আসলে পান্ট প্লেয়ার আসলে কারা আছে যাদের এক্সপেক্টেড রিটার্নটা বেশি আসার চান্স আছে, এরকম প্লেয়ারই পান্ট আপনার নিতে হবে। তো এইরকম প্লেয়ার যদি থাকে, আমাদের জোনালটা আপনাকে খুব হেল্প করবে এই জায়গাটাতে, কারণ লাস্ট গেম উইকে আমরা জোনালের বেস থেকে কিন্তু এমবুয়েমোকে সাজেস্ট করছিলাম, এবং এমবুয়েমো 14 পয়েন্ট রিটার্ন করছে। তো আমি এখানে জেমস ওয়ার্ড-প্রাউসকেও রাখতে যাবো, বিকজ অফ জেমস ওয়ার্ড-প্রাউস এই মুহূর্তে আসলে এভারটনের সাথে খেলবে, এবং এভারটন আর লিকি ইন সেট পিসেস। আমি যেটা দেখছি যে জিনিসটা আমি পাইছি স্ট্যাট ঘাটে, যে সেট পিসে তারা একটু দুর্বল। এমনি ডিফেন্স ভালো করতেছে, বা সেট পিস, এবং সেট পিসের মাস্টার প্লেয়ার হলো যে ওয়ার্ড-প্রাউস। তো আমি এখানে ওয়ার্ড-প্রাউস করে দেবো। তো স্টার্লিং এর লাস্ট ম্যাচের পারফরমেন্স আমাকে ভালো লাগছে। আমি স্টার্লিং এন্ড এমবুয়েমো এই 2 জায়গাটাতে আমি প্লেয়ার চেঞ্জ আনতে চাবো। লাইক আমি এখানে ডবল আপ করতে যাব, বোয়েনকে নিয়ে আসতে যাব, এবং এমবোএমোর জায়গায় সামথিং লাইক মিটোমাকে আমি আনতে চাবো। সো 2টা ফ্রি ট্রান্সফার এন্ড দেন আপনি ওয়াইল্ড কার্ড অ্যাক্টিভ করেন। বাট যদি এই 2টা ট্রান্সফার করেন, আমার মনে হয় যে এই টিমে আসলে ওয়াইল্ড কার্ড খেলারও প্রয়োজন পড়বে না। এই টিমটাতে আসলে তখন ওয়াইল্ড কার্ড খেলা শুধু আপনার টিমে যেটা থাকবে না সেটা হলো সালা। বাট যদি সালা আপনার জন্য ডেসপারেট যে সালাতে আপনি যাবেনই যাবেন, সেই ক্ষেত্রে সিনারিওটা ডিফারেন্ট। সেই ক্ষেত্রে আপনি ইজিলি একটা মুভ করতে পারেন। সেখানে হইলো আহ যে কোনো একজনকে স্যাক্রিফাইস করতে হবে সেই জায়গাটাতে হইলো, কারণ সালাকে যদি এই টিমে নিয়ে আসতে চায় এবং আল্লাহর প্লেয়ার্স যদি সেম থাকে, তো আমার মনে হয় যে এই টিমটা আমি আহ, 2টা পান্ট নিব এবং নেক্সট গেম উইকে ফিকচার অনুযায়ী খুব ভালো একটা ওয়াইল্ড কার্ড টিম আমি অ্যাক্টিভ করতে পারবো। তো এটা আমার টার্গেট থাকবে। তো স্টার্লিং আর এমবুয়েমোকে আমি এখানে সরাইতে যাবো এবং সেখানে বয়ে নেব, মিটোমাকে আমি নিয়ে আসতে যাবো।
Thanks, Parvis. Next question is going big. It comes from Tanvi Tanavai. Areloa, Turner, Burn, Cash, Udogi, Gusto, Taylor, Salah, Saka, Son, Embuemo, Chukwi, Meka, Haaland, Alvarez, Watkins. No free transfer. Will Gusto, Udogi play? Or should I transfer Udogi to Simicas, to Gabriel? What's your take on Embuemo? What's the possible replacement of Embuemo? Over to you, Ashfaq.
I think both Gusto and Udogi plays. And regarding your transfers, I don't think those defenders will be worth the minus hit. So I think rather, do not take a minus hit and play your team as it is. Embuemo scored 14 points last game week. I'm not sure he's a priority transfer out at the moment, but if you do plan to, transfer him out in the near future, in that price range, I think Mitoma can be a good option.
Okay, thanks, Ashfaq. We are nearly towards the end of the questions that have come in before 12:30, so we can still stick to it. But after 12:31, then we need to go a little bit faster in terms of our response and being a bit more quicker and less elaborative. Yeah. So Palestine, sorry, Wolves start করবে. I think this was the previous question, and I think the answer still remains the same.
Almiron. He's asking about Almiron.
Yes, yes. So I think that the answer is still remains the same. I think what Sankalp already said. This is the last question that came in according to my system here. That came in and is registered at 12:30. So this is the only question that will go a little bit more detailed. After that, we will answer all the questions, the remaining questions, but we'll try to make it a bit more quicker and try to be a bit more precise. Okay, Ashfaq and Parvez. Anab Avir Bhai says bank is 0.0 million. Are Areloa, Turner, Cash, Burn, Pedro, Poro, Mitchell, Lamptey, Bowen, Madison, Neto, Son, Salah, captain, Watkins, Haaland, vice captain. Archer, 2 FTs available. Kake change kora jay? Bhai. Over to you, Parvez.
থ্যাংক ইউ। আসলে এখানে 2টা ফ্রি ট্রান্সফার যদি ইউজ করতে চাই তাহলে আমি পেড্রো নেটোকে এখানে ইউজ করতে যাব এবং পেড্রো নেটোর জায়গায় আমি এই জায়গাটাতে যেহেতু ব্যাংকে 0 মিলিয়ন আছে, তো পেড্রো নেটোর জায়গায় আমার 2টা অপশন আছে, হয় পালমার অথবা গর্ডন। যদিও আমি একটু আগে বলছিলাম যে গর্ডনকে জায়গায় পালমার বেশি ভালো হবে। তো আমি এখানে নেটো টু পালমার করতে যাব এবং ফরওয়ার্ড সেকশনে So Neto to Palmer and Salah. তো সাকা এখানে সাকাকে আনাটা জরুরি আসলে এই জায়গাটাতে, বাট হু টু ডাম যেহেতু ডিফেন্স লাইনটাও আমি দেখতেছি ভালো, যে ক্যাশ, বার্ন, পেড্রো পরো আছে ইভেন, এই জায়গাটাতে আসলে আমি 3-5-2 এ খেলতে যাব। 3জন ডিফেন্স, ক্যাশ, বার্ন, পরো এবং নেটোকে আমি এখানে পালমার করতে যাব এবং নেক্সট গেম উইকে এই টাকাটাকে অন্য জায়গায় ইনভেস্ট করে রোল করে আমি আগায় যাব। এই একটা ট্রান্সফারকে আমি রোল করবো এই জায়গাটাতে। তো নেটো টু পালমার।
Parvez. Um, Next question is registered after 12:30, so let's try to be very quick with this, guys. From now on, not like skipping questions. সবার কোয়েশ্চেনই নেওয়া হবে, কারো কোয়েশ্চেনই আমরা স্কিপ করবো না, but try to be less precise. Yeah. Let's Sharia, Alom Sharia Jhalok Bhai is saying, should we sell Rashford and bring Salah now? Ashfaq?
Yes, because I think Salah is one of the priority transfers you should get right now. If you can afford Salah with selling Rashford, definitely go for it. No questions about it.
Right. Thanks, Ashfaq. Then Mahbub Sakib Bhai says, well said, Jangid Bhai. I think this is regarding his remarks about why he wants to keep Haaland right down. And then Mahbub Sakib Bhai says, thoughts on Sufal? Parvez?
তো সুফলের ক্ষেত্রে আমি যেটা বলতে চাবো যে এই মুহূর্তে আমি সুফলের চাইতে অন্য অপশন গুলোতে বেশি যাইতে যাবো, যেমন আর্সেনালের ডিফেন্স অথবা অন্য কোনো ডিফেন্সে যেতে যাব। তো আর্সেনালের ডিফেন্সটা আমার কাছে বেশি প্রায়োরিটি থাকবে সুফলের জায়গায়, এখানে আমি যদি ইয়া হয়। বাট এখানে যদি সুফলের প্রাইস পয়েন্টের লেভেলের প্লেয়ারকে আনতে হয় তাহলে এইটা একটু টাফ জিনিস। সেখানে আমি ক্রিস্টালের একজন ডিফেন্সকে গুইকে আমি এখানে টার্গেট করবো। তো সুফলের ক্ষেত্রে আমি বলবো যে ওয়েস্ট হ্যামের লাস্ট ম্যাচটা দেখে আমার কাছে অনেকগুলো কনসিড করতেছে, সেই ক্ষেত্রে এই মুহূর্তে অনেকের টিমে এরিয়ল আছে, সো আমি ডবল আপ করতে যাব না ওয়েস্ট হ্যামের ডিফেন্স। বাট আই ডোন্ট নো যে আসলে আপনার গোলকিতে কে আছে।
Okay, thanks for this. I don't know what this means, but I think it's probably this one, right? Hand pink waving is this one, right? So basically, Ifti Khairul Alam Bhai was probably wanted his questions to be answered, which we did it already. But yeah, thanks so much, brother. Farad Muhammad Bhai is back. Udogi Taylor, Sufal, pick one. I have cash and burn. Ashfaq?
Not Taylor. It should be between Udogi and Taylor. I would probably go with Udogi because although Sufal is a good attacking fullback, West Ham defensive numbers have not been the best. So I think I would rather play Udogi. So Udogi for me.
Okay. Then next question again from Farad Mohammad Bhai. Suggest two midfielders under 15 million. I have Son, Saka, Mitoma will play 3-5-2. Parvez?
সন সাকা মিটুমা 15 মিলিয়ন, এখানে বোয়েনকে ইজিলি নেওয়া যাবে। তো সন সাকা মিটুমা 15 8 7 15। তো মেডিসন আর বোয়েনের প্রাইস মানে একটু কম বেশি হবে, সেই ক্ষেত্রে আসলে সন যদি 9 10 সন টিমের মধ্যে আছে, সন সাকা মিটুমা আছে, আমি বোয়েনকে নিতে যাবো এখানে। আর প্রায়োরিটি ট্রান্সফার আমার কাছে বোয়েন। আর একজন প্লেয়ারকে আমি এখানে টাকাটাকে সেভ করতে যাব আমার ফরওয়ার্ড লাইনে সামনের দিকে প্লেয়ার গুলাকে ইনভেস্ট করার জন্য, কারণ ফরওয়ার্ডে ডারউইন বা এরকম আসবে। তো আমি পালমার অ্যান্ড বোয়েন।
Right. Thanks, Parvez. Then, where is it? Yeah. Muhammad Abdullah Numan Bhai tags Maharaj Mahmud Bhai. Thank you so much, Bhai. And Abdullah Numan Bhai then asks Salah or Haaland, whom should I keep? It's kind of impossible for me to own both, having other preferable picks. Ashfaq?
Ideally, like we said earlier, that you should have both. If you can afford either and you need to pick one, if you have a good rank, I would stick with Haaland. But if you're chasing, I think Salah is the way to go.
Yeah, that's very appropriate. I think this was much more convincing rather than the discussion that we had. Wow, Ashfaq, that's a big comment for you. Abhishek Paul Bhai says, Parvez, keep Haaland or sell Haaland. I want Watkins and Saka in my team.
তো আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে হ্যালান্ডকে যারা সেল করতেছে এই দুইটা প্লেয়ারের কারণেই হয়তো বা সেল করতেছে, ওয়াটকিন্স অথবা সাকা। যেহেতু এই দুইজন প্লেয়ারকে আপনার প্রায়োরিটি ট্রান্সফার মনে করতেছেন, যেটা সালাহকে বা হ্যালান্ডকে সেল করলে হবে, সেটা হলো ডিফারেন্ট জিনিস। বাট হ্যালান্ডকে আমি সেল করতে চাবো না। বাট আমি রং হইতে পারি এই ক্ষেত্রে যে আসলে হ্যালান্ড ছাড়া যাওয়াটা ঠিক হবে কিনা। বাট আমি যদি এই দুইজন প্লেয়ারের ক্ষেত্রে হয় যে ওয়াটকিন্স এন্ড সাকা রাইট নাও, ইয়া সেল হ্যালান্ড।
Right. So this question is more about keep Haaland or sell Haaland. I want to keep Watkins and Saka. So দুইজনকে রাখতে গেলে যদি হালান্ডের ক্ষেত্রে কষ্ট হয় তাহলে হালান্ডকে বিক্রি করতে পারে সেটাই পারভেজ বললো আর কি ওকে ওকে Saurabh Paul is then saying forward Haaland Alvarez midfield Salah on Madison Diaby Bowen defense Cash Gabriel Tsimikas Udogie Kabore rate this team and কি চেঞ্জ করা যায় সাকা মিটোমো ওয়াটকিন্সকে ইন করতে চাচ্ছি Ashfaq.
So I think there are 3 questions which are the same. Can you go to the third one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So regarding this team, I think it's a decent team. This is a decent team for this week as well. You have not mentioned what kind of bank balance or FT you have, so I can't say on that part. But I think Watkins, for most managers out there, should be a must-have. So that should be a priority transfer in your team, maybe at the expense of Alvarez as well. So that is something you should consider. If you want to get in Mitoma, I think Diaby should be the obvious replacement, but Diaby plays Luton this week, so he's not a priority transfer because I think Diaby has a good potential against Luton. So this is a good team to play this week anyway. This is a good team. Onwards, you can prioritize players like Alvarez to Watkins, and then maybe Diaby to Mitoma. Otherwise, this is a good team to play. If you have a transfer left, you can save the transfer.
Thanks, Ashfaq. Taha Yasin bhai saying Udogie fit or not? Parvez?
I think Udogie might fit কারণ তাকে প্রবলেম হয়েছিল দেখি আসলে 54 বা 55 মিনিটে উঠায় নেওয়া হয়েছিল তো প্রিকুশনারি হাফ টাইমের সময় বলছিল যে আমার প্রবলেম হচ্ছে সো দ্যাটস ওয়াই যখন সেকেন্ড গোলটা পাওয়ার সাথে সাথে উডজিকে উঠায় নিছে এবং এইটা কিন্তু
He said he was tired. He said he was tired.
রাইট সো আমার কাছে মনে হয় না যে সে ইনজুর্ড তো এইটাও যদিও স্টার্টিং ম্যাচটাই হইলো টটেনহামের তো আমার মনে হয় যদি স্টার্টিং ম্যাচ হয় এরকম টিম লিগের একটা চান্স থাকে তো সেই ক্ষেত্রে আসলে উডুজির ক্ষেত্রে যদি আপনার টিমে থেকে থাকে আমি বলবো হোল্ড বাট যদি আপনি নিতে চান তাহলে ওয়েট করতে বলবো প্রেস কনফারেন্স পর্যন্ত
Thanks, Parvez. Taha Yasin bhai then follows up with the question, Bowen. Is Bowen injured?
Bowen was
No.
benched
Okay.
today. He's not injured. He was benched today.
Okay, so probably this is a comment about when we were discussing about Bowen. Yeah. Okay. HR Ridha bhai is saying Madison plus Almeida to Saka plus Gordon plus Madison to Udogie to Saka plus Tsimikas. Ashfaq, what do you think about that one?
The second one, Madison plus Udogie to Saka plus Tsimikas because they have the better fixtures. So second one for me.
Okay, thanks. Then Mahmoud Sakib bhai says, welcome Parvez bhai. And then Farhad Mohammad bhai says, sound is fine, which is great to hear. And then Soyad Montaz Ahmed bhai saying, Haaland to Watkins kora ki thik hobe, Parvez?
না এটা আসলে একটু বেশি ইয়া হয়ে যাবে যে হ্যালান্ড টু ওয়াটকিন্স আমি এগ্রি করব না কারণ যদি এটা অন্য হইতো যে আলভারেজ টু ওয়াটকিন্স বা সামথিং লাইক এরকম এটার ক্ষেত্রে এগ্রি করতাম বাট হ্যালান্ড টু ওয়াটকিন্স আমার মনে হয় না এটা ঠিক হবে
The next comment, I think I can answer this. Yeah, I'm holding Rashford for game week 1. What should I do now? Or I go for Diaby for a long-term plan. But if you have Rashford, before I answer this, I'll just give you a bit of a background here. Yeah, back in the days when we had Ittadi as the only entertainment, there was this famous thing that came out, Chilla Katta Lobon Laga Dimu, and there was this guy who was going around selling cucumbers, saying that, Chilla Katta Lobon Laga Dimu. I think that's what you should do with Rashford right now. Chilla Katta Lobon Laga that, ঠিক আছে? And in terms of Diaby for long-term plan, yes, I agree with that, with Diaby. But not for long-term, to be honest, Diaby. No, not Diaby, not for long-term. I would rather go with Bowen for more long term rather than Diaby or even Mitoma. Yeah. Okay. Then this is Ashfaq, your turn. Pulak Kitania is saying captain pickup, Salah or Watkins. Ashfaq.
Watkins is a great pick this week, but still, I think going for a cap without Salah and or Haaland would provide certain amount of risk. But Watkins is still a great pick. It's like high risk, high gain. Watkins has a good score. You will likely rise ranks up a few millions maybe if you're a bad rank. You should only consider Watkins if you have a really bad rank. Otherwise, Salah is a decent captain shout this week as well. So Watkins is a high differential. So you should play take that into consideration before putting the cap on him.
Okay. Ashfaq, you got appreciation by people. নাইম আহমেদ ভাই said ধন্যবাদ আশফাক ভাই আমার এত বড় কমেন্ট কষ্ট করে পড়ার জন্য কষ্ট করে আমি পড়ছি কমেন্ট and he gets the appreciation
না আমি পড়ছি বলে আনসার করতে পারছি আপনার কথা তো আমি শুনি না ওইভাবে আপনি তো জানেন আমি তো আপনার কথা আমি শুনি না আমি তো পড়ি তারপর
I forced you to say it. I forced you to read.
হ্যাঁ সেটা you can say হ্যাঁ you put this on me so you forced me হ্যাঁ সেটা বলতে পারেন that is on you. নাদিম ভাই ইমোশনাল হয়ে গেলে সে ফ্রিজ হয়ে যায় আর কি জানি যখন কথা বলতে বলতে ইমোশনাল হয়ে যায় সে ফ্রিজ হয়ে যায়.
Yeah, that's true Ashfaq. Can you hear me by the way?
হ্যাঁ
Can you hear me Ashfaq? Okay. Then Zakari Ahmed bhai says son to Saka korbo Mary আছে Ashfaq.
This is a dilemma that I have as well. If you are taking Saka, it should be a long-term pick. Saka is not an explosive pick this week, as many people are considering him to be, but he's a good pick. Between them, Son or Madison. So if you have a transfer to spare, or you have two transfers, maybe this can be an option, and Saka can be a good long-term pick. If you're getting in Saka, it's probably for the long term anyway. Between Son and Madison, we have always mentioned that Son probably has a bit of an edge on Madison, but Madison itself is a good pick too. So if you have a transfer to sell, this is a good transfer to do anyway. This is not a bad transfer to do, and Madison can cover Son in any given day. So if you have a transfer to say, I would say go for it. No problem.
Okay. And then says 86 AKM fine by says Captain Saka or Salah Parvez.
Yeah, I like to go with Salah.
Thanks Parvez. Tasneem is saying Tasmim. This is Tasmim. Okay. Ashfaq bhaiya, Captain Kaki dibo jeno onek points paয়. Ashfaq bhaiya.
So
Captain Kaki dibo.
To the commenter who commented, so what I've seen that you have gotten 14 points from Mbuemo last week. So I would say put the captaincy on Mbuemo. So I think that will do you good and get you a lot of points. So captaincy on Mbuemo, please.
আমার প্রত্যেকদিনে ঘুঘু একই ধান খাবে
Ashfaq, to be honest, this is Tasmim you're talking to, huh? So
right.
If you're suggesting him
so
to
he
do
won't listen to what I say anyway. So he's pulling my leg because he's leading me in FPL. Probably after I don't know 5 or 6 years, he's leading me in FPL. So that is why he's pulling my leg. So he asks for suggestions. I'll give you suggestions. You put the captaincy on Mbuemo. He got 14 points from Mbuemo, and he scored a century too. He scored 101 last week.
Yeah, you didn't mention. See, this is why you don't like me. I also took 1 week punt Mbomo. I got also 14 points, but you didn't bother to mention that to me. But anyway, I feel insulted when people don't mention my name. I feel very emotional. I get worried. I feel like I'm useless and I have no meaning in life, to be honest. Yeah, it makes me very depressed, emotional,
These
like a
shows
child.
are what keeps
Yeah.
you going.
Yeah, I know. Muhammad Abdullah Noman Bhai says, Mitoma, Bowen, Saka, Son, Madison, among them whom to be dropped for Salah for long run. Parvez?
থ্যাংক ইউ। এখানে আমি মিটোমাকে এখানে সালাকে নিব আর কি মিটোমার জায়গায়, বিকজ অফ মিটোমা এই মুহূর্তে ব্রাইটন চ্যাম্পিয়ন ইউরোপা লিগ খেলতেছে এবং তারা যথেষ্ট ইনজুরির মধ্যে দিয়ে যাচ্ছে, তাদের অনেক প্লেয়ার ইনজুর। দ্যাটস ওয়াই তার প্রায়োরিটি আসলে কোন ম্যাচে থাকবে কোন ম্যাচে থাকবে না এটা আসলে মিনিটটা কনসার্ন হইতে পারে তার, যেখানে বোয়েন, সাকা, সন বা মেডিসনের ক্ষেত্রে এই জিনিসটা খুব কম হবে, ইভেন সালার ক্ষেত্রেও। তো মিটোমার যেহেতু মিনিট কনসার্ন আছে এক্স মিনিট, তো আমি মিটোমার জায়গায় সালাকে এখানে অ্যাডজাস্ট করতে যাবো।
Thanks, Parvez. Then 86 AKM 5 ভাই স্যার, আপনারা প্রত্যেক উইকে লাইভে আসেন ভাই? হ্যাঁ, প্রত্যেক উইকে আমরা লাইভে আসি ভাই, and it's been ongoing since last 3 years. তবুও মানুষ আমাদেরকে ওইভাবে ফলো করে না আর কি, আমাদের ফলোয়ার এখন অনেক কম, আমরা খুব গরিব মানুষ আর কি। হ্যাঁ, এখনো কোনো মতো বেঁচে খাইয়ে চলতেছি আর কি। সো if you can invite your friends, brother, that would be great. And if people like you are supporting us on a regular basis, that would be really appreciated, to be honest. And
If
I'm
you
saying this
like our show,
from
we
a
will
very
be
sincere
really,
part
really.
of my heart.
If you like our show, we will be really honored if you could leave us a review on our Facebook page. That would really, help us,
Yeah,
meet more followers, have more followers, reach out to more people, etc.
yeah. And we've been doing this every week without fail. আল্লাহর রহমতে এখন পর্যন্ত একটা গেম উইক হয় না যে we have failed not to cover any game week. Yeah, so that's that. And
No,
then he
there
says,
was one.
no, there was none. There was
এবং
none.
নট অনলি,
We have
আমি
never
এখানে
failed.
নাদিমের সাথে একটু আরো
You
একটা
had
জিনিস অ্যাড
internet
করবো।
issues. You gave a apology video.
ওটা ওটা আসলে অ্যাক্সিডেন্টালি হয়েছিল, বাট আরেকটা জিনিস এর সাথে অ্যাড করবো, আমরা শুধু প্রত্যেক উইকে লাইভে আসি না, আমরা প্রত্যেকটা কোয়েশ্চেনের অ্যান্সার করি। দ্যাটস ওয়াই আমাদের আজকে পডের লেন্থ দেখেন 2 ঘন্টা 42 মিনিট হয়ে গেছে অলরেডি। খিদায় পেট চোচো করতেছে, তারপরও যাইতে পারতেছি না বিকজ অফ আপনাদের জন্য। এটা নট অনলি, এটা কিন্তু আপনাদেরকে দোষ দিচ্ছি না বা এরকম না, বাট আমাদের টার্গেট হলো প্রত্যেকটা কোয়েশ্চেন আমরা টাইমের পরেও কিন্তু কোয়েশ্চেন অ্যান্সার করতেছি। এটা হলো আমাদের একই কোশ্চেন বারবার করতেছি, তারপরও অ্যান্সার দিচ্ছি, আমরা কিন্তু করেই যাচ্ছি। যার টিমের জন্য যে প্রবলেম, আমরা তার টিমের প্রবলেমটা সেভাবে সলভ করতেছি। তো এটা হলো আমাদের একটা ইউনিক স্টাইল আর কি, আপনি বলতে পারেন।
Yeah, that apology video was for something shorter. We were supposed to do something longer. Yeah, we were supposed to be all together, do it, and it was very planned, and then it collapsed because there was no internet. So I had to record and then put it on my mobile. But yeah,
But
that was that. But I don't
something
think
about
so.
Gone Football is that even if you have 1 followers, 1 viewers, etc., we have always maintained the show every week, every other day. And, it may have been inconsistent in this past year or so, but there was a time that only me and Nadim bhai were chatting and no one was watching, and we chatted about FPL without anyone watching for hours straight, because we loved FPL and that is what we wanted to discuss about. Our mutual love for
That's it.
FPL, bought onto this show,
I mean,
etc. So
it's a good point. Couple of things that we do well, yeah, and I'm not bragging about ourselves, but this is something that even my child notices this, and my child says this: Baba jai koruk na karuk, babar pot থাকলে কিন্তু বাবা পট করবে। বাবা টায়ার্ড, বাবা খেলতে পারবে না, বাবা হোমওয়ার্ক দেখতে পারবে না, বাবা অফিসে আজকে অনেক ব্যস্ত, সে মাথা ব্যথা, তার শরীর খারাপ, বাট বাবার পট থাকলে বাবা পট করবে। That's what we do. I'm in Bangkok, I'm in Thailand, I'm in the US, it doesn't matter. We do shows. We just keep doing it. And we've been doing it. And mashallah and alhamdulillah, we've been able to do
Yes,
it for the
and
last 3 years, and
we
I
have been
hope this may
this
long
page has
this
been
continue.
consistent. The team has been consistent, and it had dividends as well. The Gone Football fantasy page is the first Bangladeshi football page to be a part of Fantasy Football Scout, network, and that is only because of we have been consistent
Members,
and we
yeah.
have been putting on the efforts, week after week, year after year. So at some point, it had paid its dividends. So that is something that I think the
Yeah, it
overall
did,
team
and I
is
think
proud
there
of.
is yet
The
more
overall
to
team is
come,
proud of.
and we haven't seen our full glory days. Yeah, but we haven't seen our full glory days yet, and I think our glory days are coming. But anyway, we'll keep doing, brother. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you keep waiting for our show, but do keep us and give us a review. 86 ATM 5 by. Thank you so much, and we would really appreciate that. Go to our Facebook page, Gone Football Fantasy, and then you can give us a drop like over there. And we do the shows every week. And we don't do one show, we do 3 shows every week. 3 shows, not one. Yeah. Okay. Nigel Shujan Bhai says, thanks, Nadim Bhai. Atogula question পড়ার জন্য. Chalo. See, people have finally said it. Finally, Ashfaq. People just don't thank you, okay? Yeah. People just don't thank you. Thank me also, okay? They thank me. They like me. Yeah.
এই থ্যাংক ইউটা আপনি চেয়ে নিছেন, এই থ্যাংক ইউটা আপনি লাইভ শোতে আপনি বলে কমপ্লেন করে আপনি চেয়ে নিছেন এটা ন্যাচারালি আসে না।
Whatever it is, Ashfaq. Whatever it is, Ashfaq. Whatever it is, doesn't really matter. It came, no? It came. See, this one also I asked, and I got it. See, Nadim bhai কষ্ট করে পড়ছেন comment. ধন্যবাদ ভাই. See, thanks, Nadim bhai. Thanks. At least you gave it. See, people do give. Yeah. People do give. People are kind, Ashfaq. People are not cruel like you. They're not rude like you. They don't offend me.
আপনি আগের কমেন্টস পড়েন, ধৈর্য ধরে কমেন্টসটা পড়ার জন্য ধন্যবাদ। I'm one of the most patient guys I know of. পড়েন আপনি আরেকবার কমেন্ট কষ্ট করে পড়ার জন্য, ধৈর্য ধরে পড়ার জন্য।
Compared to whom?
Compared to people around me, yourself included.
That's a joke. I'm the one who's been sitting down here trying to operate the whole system, reading all the questions, passing on things, adding comments, doing everything. And you all are coming turn by turn, sitting down quietly, then reading questions. That is also coming turn by turn. And then you all are telling me you are the patient guy and I'm the impatient guy. Chalo, yaar, on that note, 10 people are still watching.
I did not say you're impatient. I said I was one of the most impatient guy I know of. That is what I'm saying.
No. Yeah, but I think I'm more patient than you, and I think that makes it very interesting. This guy says a good night, bhai. Yeah, it's time.
Anyway,
it's time. It just goes to show you that
I think it's
people
been
are
a
watching.
long pod.
It's been a long pod. It's been a very long pod, and I just want to thank the audience for all the wonderful support that you have shown today to Sankalp and to us. And I can see still 10 people are watching, so which goes to show that there are still nocturnal people who are রাত জাগা পাখি আর কি, হ্যাঁ এখনো জেগে আছে আর কি, just like us. Very much. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. This is brilliant. This is really appreciated. And thank you, Ashfaq, for joining after a long time and finally being able to overtake me in FPL.
Thank you for finally inviting me to the show.
Yeah, and Parviz, thanks for joining. And guys, we will see you again next week for the game week 11. But until then, all the very best. Make your changes to your team. The deadline is tomorrow. Don't forget, it's on Friday.
There's an early deadline tomorrow. So, don't miss it.
Until then,
may your arrows be green. Thank you for having us. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.